It's a beautiful day for baseball, and live from Scottsdale Stadium in Scottsdale, Arizona, Sportsnet LA presents the Los Angeles Dodgers and the San Francisco Giants for the Dodgers, their 11th spring training game of the season. Hi again, everybody. Charlie Steiner, Rick Monday, of course, opening day Thursday, March 29th at Dodger Stadium against the Giants. Dodgers won 104 last year, play 177 games, one win from winning the World Series title. So what about spring training this year? No news is good news.
No, it is. It's very, very quiet because Dave Roberts and the organization really analyzed this. I mean, ponder this for a fact. You play all those games. The season went an extra month from what you're going to normally have. There were 28 teams watching the two games, or the two teams in the World Series. So when they come in, first of all, health is on their side. Really, the only injury was Andrew Tolles. He's already shown that his knee is okay. So as a result, the guys are going to pull the wagon most of the time this year. They're not going to play in the early goings. But that has opened the doors, Charlie. We've seen a lot of these young players. Jake Peter, just to take him, another home run yesterday. He has 16 at-bats. He leads the ball club with 11 runs batted in, has 3 home runs. But the young guys who've been reading about, now we're beginning to see them play the game. We understand now why we continue to hear their names.
And we're going to see a couple of veteran starters today. Kenta Maeda for the Dodgers. Jeff Samardzija for the Giants. Back with the lineups and first pitch right after this.
And Dave Roberts, just back in uniform, attended his daughter's play in San Diego last night, and he missed the victory. And for the Dodgers and the Giants, they're going to see plenty of one another as the season unfolds. And on March 29th at Dodger Stadium, it'll be the Dodgers and the Giants. 65 degrees and a breezy afternoon. Wind blowing out about 12 to 15 miles an hour. The center field into right center field. And for the Dodgers coming on victorious yesterday, and here's Dave Roberts' starting lineup. It'll be Chris Taylor leading it off in center field. He'll bat lead off. Chase Utley batting second and playing at second base. At first base is Cody Bellinger. Yasiel Puig is in right. Yasmani Grandal to catch. In left field, Jock Peterson. Logan Forsythe will be at third base to start this ball game today. Austin Barnes, the designated hitter. And Kike Hernandez bagging the 9th spot. He's at shortstop with Kenta Maeda on the mound this afternoon. The Dodgers will be facing the big right-hander for the Giants. 6'5", 2¼ is what he weighs, and that's Jeff Samardzija. 32 starts a season ago, and for Samardzija, 9 wins and 15 losses. He had an up and down season. He would be good with a low ERA 1 month and then be annihilated the next month, and trying to get off on the right foot here in 2018. The umpiring assignments for the start of this ball game. Mark Ripperger will work the plate. He'll call the balls and strikes and on the bases. Besser's Bill Miller, Ron Culpa, and Nick Marley working the bases here this afternoon. The Dodgers victorious in yesterday's ball game, and another afternoon where they hit home runs. They hit 4 in particular, and winning it 14-6, that being over the Arizona Diamondbacks. So for Dave Roberts, a little bit of adjustment in that lineup tonight with Taylor, Utley, and then Bellinger, followed by Puig, the first 4 batters. And boy, we have seen a great opportunity for some of the younger players. Of the 60 that reported to camp, we've seen a lot of them get some action already, and they might get some more action before this game is completed this afternoon. Happy to have you with us from Scottsdale. Dodgers and the Giants having a play. Here's Charlie.
Well, the lineup today for the Dodgers, a familiar set with Taylor, Utley, and Bellinger top third, Puig and Grandal, Peterson in left, Forsythe at third base, Barnes the DH, Kike Hernandez is batting ninth against Jeff Samardzija, the 33-year-old right-hander. Beginning his 10th season, came up with the Cubs in 2008. You might be surprised to realize his Major League one-loss record is 19 games under 500. He misses high and inside. 1 ball, no strikes to Chris Taylor. 4 for 13 this spring. 2 RBIs and 2 doubles. Utley and Bellinger to follow. A chilly day, 65 degrees, a breaking ball and a swing and a miss by Chris Taylor. And it's now 1 ball and 1 strike. Defensively for the Giants this afternoon, Jared Parker will be in left field. Steven Duggar in center. Andrew McCutchen is in right. When the regular season rolls around, Hunter Pence likely in left field as Taylor pops it up to the right side, retreating his second baseman Joe Panik, waving his arms, making the catch, and we're underway as Taylor pops to second.
Well, a combination of some bright sunshine. Those occasional clouds that are going by at high wind. This is going to be catch the ball by committee. So really important for outfielders to be in sync with their infielders and to communicate verbally.
Chase Utley stepping in, hitless in 8 at-bats this spring. The 39-year-old veteran who signed a 2-year contract with the Dodgers just before spring training. So you got Parker, Duggar, and McCutchen in the outfield as Samardzija delivers a strike. It's 0-1. McCutchen will be playing right field this year, and Pence in left. Gorkis Hernandez, Austin Jackson among the options in center field for San Francisco. As Utley takes a breaking ball high and away, it's 1 ball and 1 strike. Afternoon defensive infield for the Giants. Sandoval is at third base. Kelby Tomlinson is at short. Of course, Brandon Crawford, that's his job. Joe Panik at second base. Brandon Belt is at first. The 1-1, another breaking ball, and it's a call strike. And it's 1 ball and 2 strikes.
Samardzija will work in that the breaking ball. He said a number of years ago that really the off-speed pitches are big pitches for him. Not the kind of backing out. He was not in agreement with the call by home plate umpire Mike Reppinger.
Here's the pitch to Utley, inside and high. That is 2 balls and 2 strikes.
It is a little strange. You mentioned that Samardzija enters the season with a lifetime record well below the 500 mark. And at first plus, well, it'll catch a lot of people by surprise because he's been a workhorse in his career.
Here's the 2-2. Utley takes inside and low, 3-2. 8 pitches into this outing for Samardzija, mostly off-speed breaking ball.
Well, he got off to a slow start, as I mentioned. It was up and down. He was 0-4 with an ERA of over 6.5 in April. He finally won his first game and only game. That was in May.
On 3-2, Utley rolls it slowly up the first base line, but it squiggles foul.
So then in June, he was a 500 pitcher. In July, a 500 pitcher, 2-2. And he finally had a good August, 4-1. But then went back to the old habit. In September, he was 0-3. So only 2 months out of the year was his earned run average below 3.5.
Samardzija, of course, played college football at Notre Dame between 2003 and 2006 and was an outstanding wide receiver. 2 sport options, and he went with baseball. Now the 3-2. Utley swings and misses. He's been struck out. So Samardzija coming out with a steady dose of off-speed breaking ball.
Yeah, it comes back with that off-speed. So he said a couple of years ago, he said, look, he said, this is really a big pitch for me. He says, you learn to throw other pitches. Everybody expects you, if you're a big guy 6'5" like he is, they expect you to throw hard to begin with.
6'5", 240, and he's 33. 2 out, nobody on, and Bellinger's stepping in. Bellinger, 39 home runs last year. Takes low and inside, 1 ball and no strikes. So they asked Bellinger, what did he do during the offseason? He said he relaxed and put on weight. We can relate. Inside and low. It's 2 balls and no strikes. His forearms look considerably bigger and more sturdy. As Bellinger awaits the 2-0. Grounds it foul at the first base line past George Lombard, the Dodger first base coach. It's 2-1, 2 out, just underway in the first inning.
Well, Bellinger was very honest with himself after the completion of the season. I mentioned the pregame show. You know, you get that extra month of playing, that being in postseason, certainly the World Series. He realized how draining physically and mentally it is.
And again, this time last year, he was not expected to make the team. Checks his swing. Breaking ball outside and low. It's now 3-1.
Well, for those that are on the simulcast, one of the things you look at Bellinger, and he did it that at bat too. He was way out in front. He is taking the stride off of the motion. We saw clubs trying to take advantage off speed.
3-1. And just swings and misses. Big uppercut comes up empty. It's 3-2.
Well, he went 3-2. Samardzija did to Utley and threw a breaking ball to strike him out. Now he is 3-2 to Bellinger. He's already been out in front of a breaking ball. Is this also breaking ball in the payoff?
Samardzija deals. Hard ground ball, base hit into right field. The shift was on. Panic about a half a dozen steps on the outfield grass. But that ball was smoked, and Panic had no chance.
Yeah, he did not come with an off-speed pitch. He tried to get the heater low and in past Bellinger. It's like trying to get a pork chop past a hungry wolf.
Well, here comes Yasiel Puig. There's a double and 3 singles this spring. Of course, last year, probably his best all-around year. With 28 home runs, 74 RBIs while hitting .263. He was as good as it got playing in right field and somehow did not get the Gold Glove. Two out. Bellinger leads. Puig takes a strike. It's 0-1.
Last year we saw a much more patient Yasiel Puig, and not just at the plate. We saw him. You talked about the defense. I think most of us that saw him play every day, we were shocked that he did not get the Gold Glove, but he also applied the patience defensively.
Wild horse on 0-1 takes low and inside. And it's 1 ball and 1 strike.
And I'll guarantee you there were not too many times in conversations, paragraphs, or even discussions about Yasiel Puig his first years in professional ball where patience was even included in a paragraph.
Puig walked 64 times last year, 346 on base percentage. And of course, when he's on base, he's a threat. Takes high and away, and it's 2 balls and 1 strike. So the story of spring in the outfield, of course, Puig is cemented in right. Figured Taylor is going to be the everyday center fielder with an occasional exception. As Puig again, much more patient, lays off a breaking ball down and away, 3-1. Left field becomes a very interesting issue. Matt Kemp is off to a terrific start. Peterson is playing in left today. Andrew Tolles had an outstanding performance yesterday. And Puig in the right center field, and a diving attempt by McCutchen. He can't get it. It will roll to the wall. And arriving home is Bellinger as Yasiel Puig doubles in a run, and the Dodgers take a 1-0 lead.
Whether it's spring training or not, a 2-out rally is something that managers and coaches, players too for that matter, really enjoy having, because with the 2 outs, a 3-2 count to Bellinger, there was a base hit. Okay, runner at first base. But for Yasiel Puig, moves it to 3-1. Did not try and pull the pitch. Was out away from him. He is so strong. He's beginning to understand base hits to right field and right center count just as much as those down the left field line.
And those were the little aspects of his game that he was working on last year. Picking up where he left off as Grandal takes a strike, 0-1. The switch hitting catcher, a slow start this spring. 1 for 13. He's been struck out 8 times. So the Dodgers a 1-0 lead. A 2-out single for Bellinger and the double by Puig, who leads off second base. Samardzija deals and a ground ball to second base. Panik picks it up on the second hop. A couple of steps on the outfield grass. Picks it up. Grandal's retired. The inning is over. Bellinger a single, Puig a double, and the Dodgers have a 1-0 lead after the first half of the first. Never mentioned the Giants. So the Dodgers take the early 1-0 lead, and Kenta Maeda, who made 29 starts last year, 29 appearances, 25 starts, overall record of 13-6, and a .422 earned run average, will be facing Joe Panik, then Brandon Belt and Andrew McCutchen. Longoria, Sandoval, and Jarrett Parker, the middle third, and Nick Hundley, the catcher, Steven Duggar in center field, Kelby Tomlinson in center. Shortstop, I beg your pardon. And so for Maeda, this is his second start of the spring, and you mentioned it, it's really quite interesting that his relief work late in the year made him a much more aggressive pitcher. Now we'll see how it translates into the regular season, as the first pitch to Joe Panik is a strike, and it's 0-1.
Exactly what the Dodgers talked to Kenta Maeda about. He said, look, let's analyze it. And they did. They looked down and they saw videotape. And when he came out of the bullpen, he was much more aggressive. It reduced the pitch count, and something he did not throw a lot of innings per start last year.
Maeda at 29 delivers a fastball off to the left. It's fouled off the bat of Joe Panik, and it's 0-2. Panik 4 for 10 this
He did not fall into the problem that maybe Hideo Nomo had. And Hideo Nomo was very good when he came over. It was with the Dodgers. Excellent through that no-hitter in Denver. No question about that. But Maeda at times fell in that hat that Nomo did of just kind of tickling the strike zone instead of owning the strike zone, and he went too deep in a lot of counts.
The 0-2 is inside and low, 1 ball and 2 strikes. Dodgers defensively on this Sunday afternoon with a wind whipping pretty good from left field toward right. Jock Peterson in left. Chris Taylor in center. Puig is in right. The 1-2 from Maeda is in the dirt. Bounces to the backstop. And it's 2-2. Logan Forsythe at third base this afternoon. Kike Hernandez getting the start at shortstop. Chase Utley at second base. Cody Bellinger at first, and Grandal is behind the plate. The Dodgers, this is their 11th game of spring. They'll be playing 33. And a ground ball to second base. Easy hop for Utley. And that's the first out of the bottom of the first as he throws on to Bellinger. Panic is retired.
Giants looking for some offense. They're looking for some healthy players, and they're looking for a much better season than last year, where they were 40 games behind the Dodgers when all the dust was settled. 64-98 for Bruce Bochy's club.
They've got nowhere to go but up, and they've got a dilemma going. As Bell takes inside and low, 1 ball and no strikes. They've got a farm system that they mortgaged to some degree in winning 3 World Series titles. Well, those days are now done. The farm system is not as strong as it once was, and a fly ball into left field. Peterson having difficulty finding it, and so coming out is the shortstop, Kike Hernandez, saving his bacon. A beautiful play. Jock Peterson just couldn't track the ball at all. And Kike sprinting out toward the line makes a terrific over-the-shoulder catch.
Just an excellent play. Not only battling the wind, but trying to find the baseball. That's one of the things that, if you look at this Dodger ball club, why did the Dodgers get to the World Series? Well, they had versatility. Yes, they had good seasons individually. They stayed away from devastating injuries overall. But being able to plug in a player here, plug him in there, and for Kike Hernandez to go back and make that play, just excellent.
So there's 2 out. So to finish a thought on the Giants and the journey they're about to embark on. With a minor league system that's not as strong as it once was, and of course it paid off handsomely, the deals that they made, winning 3 World Series titles. But of course last year the vaudevillian stage floor opened, and it was not a pretty picture. So now they're trying to spackle it up to get the farm system back going again. In the meantime, they go out and get a couple of veterans like Andrew McCutchen and Evan Longoria, who is on deck, trying to buy some time over the next few years as they resupply that farm system. That's their game plan now. McCutchen is 2 for 5 this spring. A ball and a strike with 2 out. As Maeda misses low, it's 2-1.
Now the Giants were tied with the Tigers for the worst record in baseball. So again, do you build around former champions that are still in this ball club, or do you rebuild? They chose the first part of that, to build around it.
Well, it's a veteran team now as a result, as McCutchen fouls it into the dirt. It's 2 balls and 2 strikes. McCutchen in his 30s, Longoria in his 30s. Belt near 30. Panic is about the only one under 30. Pablo Sandoval. So they're going to try and go with the veterans this year, and they're certainly a better looking crew at this point in spring than they were a year ago. There's the 2-2. Foul off to the left into the Dodger dugout off the bat of Andrew McCutchen. Of course, the Giants last year, a month into the season, their ace, Madison Bumgarner, injured himself away from the field, and that was a devastating blow to the Giants.
Well, here's a big guy right here, McCutchen. It has just added, and for McCutchen, a chance to kind of zero the odometer and come back really to the style and to the level of play he had early in his career in Pittsburgh.
He was an MVP, swinging a ground ball to third. Easy play for Forsythe, throws across the diamond, and an easy inning for Kenta Maeda. No runs, no hits, no errors, and nobody left. 1-0 Dodgers as we go to the second. It'll be Jock Peterson, Logan Forsythe, and Austin Barnes to hit for the Dodgers as we go to the second inning here in Scottsdale. This is a 37th year in which the Giants have held spring training in this ballpark. Jock is 2 for 16 so far this spring. Hit for 212 last year. As Jock swings and misses, nothing in one. And again, Samardzija coming back with the off-speed breaking stuff here in the second inning as he threw it in the first. Outfield straight away. Infield plays Peterson to pull, and he drills one foul down the right field line. And it's 0-2.
Well, for Jock, I mentioned the other day that he's had a long talk with Justin Turner, outstanding third baseman, his Dodger ball club, who's not in attendance today, at least not at this game. Worked out earlier, Camelback Ranch, Glendale. JT said, look, you need to start hitting better the pitches you should hit.
The 0-2 is low and inside, 1 ball and 2 strikes.
And what that means is you're going to get maybe 2 or 3 pitches in a ball game as a hitter that are where you want it, where you handle the ball pretty well. And those are the balls that you don't want to miss. You don't want to foul them off.
A 1-2. Peterson fouls it off to the left and out of play.
So that was just kind of the words in the mentality and the approach to hitting is just that, because you will have maybe a pitch or two in a particular ball game. You have a rough night. Boy, you'll have a sleepless night because you'll keep replaying in your mind that pitch.
The 1-2. Peterson tried to check his swing, went around. He's been struck out. Mark Ripperker says you went around. Josh didn't agree, but doesn't get a vote. Ted Williams used to say roughly the same thing about the key to hitting. He said, you know, in every at-bat, you'll probably get one good pitch to hit. The key is to know which one it is. Ted Williams certainly knew that. Logan Forsythe is the hitter. Takes a ball outside. 1 ball, no strikes. As Forsythe takes inside, 2-0.
Ted Williams would also occasionally, not just occasionally, he would watch batting practice. You know, this is well after he retired. He was still with the Red Sox and teams that would come in to play the Red Sox. He would watch the opposing team come around the batting cage and just watch hitters.
The 2-0 is a strike, 2-1.
And occasionally he would ask a question. And one of the questions, and the only question I ever got from Ted Williams, he said, what pitch do you hit best? What's the location?
Forsythe on 2-1, outside, and low 3-1.
And I told him, well, low and in, typical left-handed bat. He didn't say a word. He just walked away. He nodded, turned, and walked away.
3 balls and a strike. There's a liner to center field, and it's going to drop in front of Stephen Duggar for a 1-out single to center for Logan Forsythe in the second inning, with the Dodgers up 1-0.
But going back to that, I wondered for a long time, well, what did he mean by the question? It was more of a statement than a question, because the statement was, young man, and this is when I just came up, young man, you need to know what you hit best, the location that you handle, and what about the locations you don't handle? Well, it's easy to work on what you're good at already. It's difficult and painful to work on maybe the deficiencies.
Now Austin Barnes, his breakout year last season, takes a strike, 0-1. Austin is 0 for 7 so far in spring training.
Yeah, the elbow with Austin Barnes, also with Corey Seager, has kind of set them back a little bit. And when they had the virus, for those who are not aware, Dodgers had 24 players that were sent home on Wednesday because of a virus.
Barnes takes high and inside, and it's 1 ball, 1 strike.
A couple of coaches, a couple of training staff were also sent home. Fortunately, it was for the most part just a 24-hour virus. 12 players were sent home on Thursday. Most of the group of the 60 invited to camp were on hand and ready to go yesterday.
1 ball, 1 strike, 1 out. Barnes takes a pitch in the dirt, and now caught in a rundown is Logan Forsythe. And he's going to be tagged out by Joe Panic.
You know, that's not a mistake by Logan Forsythe, because I've talked about at great lengths about the aggressive, thoughtful base running. But if you look at Forsythe, now this pitch is in the dirt, and reaching out to backhand the ball on one hop was the catcher. So Forsythe saw the ball was going into the dirt. He started to take off. And that was, you know, the feet did not move with the catcher Hundley at all. So that was a gamble, and a good gamble by Forsythe. It just happened, a terrific backhanded catch on one hop.
It was a great play of Hundley that forced the out. Forsythe was right to do what he did. The expectation was it was going to get past Nick Hundley, who's an outstanding defensive catcher, however. So now there's 2 out. And the count is 3-1 to Austin Barnes. Second inning, Dodgers 1-0. Barnes takes high and inside, ball 4.
Well, going back to that play as well, that's a play that for Hundley, that's kind of a highlight film. That's about maybe a 20% success rate on a pitch that far outside. Hundley, also a little surprised enough, did not move his feet to slide out. Maybe did not have a whole lot of time, but you make that catch backhand on one hop, that's excellent.
So you can't pin the rap on Forsythe on that. That was just a terrific play turned in by Hundley. With 2 out, Kike Hernandez coming up. And Kike, breaking ball, swing and a miss, 0-1.
Mentioned earlier about sometimes pitchers that they come out and say, well, today I'm going to work on the curveball. Today I'm going to work maybe on the slider, the changeup. Well, so far for Samardzija, it's working with the off-speed pitches, both the curveballs and the changeup.
Dodgers with a 1-0 lead. A 2-out double for Puig in the first. And a call strike to Kike Hernandez, and it's 0-2.
Pretty good pattern, off speed, swing and a miss, and then you thread the needle outside corner with a heater.
Kike will turn 27 in August. He takes high and inside, 1 ball, 2 strikes. Kike now in his 4th season. He has started at every spot except pitcher and catcher in his big league career. Now the 1-2. It's high and inside, 3 ball. Make that 2 balls and 2 strikes. Kike Hernandez, career high last year in games played, 140. Runs scored 46, hit 64, 24 doubles, 11 home runs, 37 runs batted in. Play all over the lot. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Way outside, 3-2. What a postseason Kike Hernandez turned in. When he hit .320, went 8 for 25. Of course, that big 3 home run night. Knocked in 8. Game 5 of the NLCS. Hernandez swings and fouls it back and out of play.
Yeah, chilly night at Wrigley Field.
And so Kike Hernandez provided all the heat. It was really one of the great all-time postseason games ever played by anybody. On 3-2, the runner goes. It's low and outside, ball 4.
Hundley was halfway to the dugout. So he's catching and umpiring. Double duty today.
And now Mark Ripperger is catching it from Hundley. Are you sure about that call?
Well, Hundley was sitting way outside. He thought it was strike 3, did not wait for the call, headed back to the dugout. Not so fast, young man.
Thought he had framed it pretty well.
And got framed.
So first and second, 2 out.
Yeah, they're still discussing it, spring training or not. Home plate umpires, any umpire, they don't like it, you vacate the area.
Well, it'll be interesting to see how this game goes on. Remember the other day on Friday back at Camelback Ranch, Kershaw asked home plate umpire Tony Randazzo before he got hurt about whether or not the pitch was outside or not. As it turned out, Randazzo said, well, it was just a shade outside. Next pitch, Kershaw brought it back about 2 inches worth and threw a strike. 1 ball, no strikes to Chris Taylor, who takes inside 2-0. Taylor popped to second base in his first at bat. 2-on-2 out, second inning, and the Dodgers with a 1-0 lead. Chase Utley is on deck.
Here we go.
Taylor, off his breakout season last year, takes outside and low, 3 balls and no strikes.
If body language means anything, looking at Mark Reppier behind home plate, he's still maybe a little steamed.
Hands on his hips.
And he's not waiting for the bus.
Here's a 3-0. There's a strike, 3-1. Chris Taylor last year, 288, 21 home runs, 72 RBIs. And when the Dodgers broke camp last year, they left without him. But it didn't take long for him to rejoin the club and turn in a career year. Now Taylor takes high and inside, ball 4, and Samardzich's getting frustrated. Not so much with that call in particular, but the fact now that he's walked 3 batters in a row, there's 2 out.
What we don't see now is normally you would see the catcher go out to the mound. But with 6 trips without removing a pitcher, with a new rule to kind of speed the game up, that if the game goes extra innings, you get 1 more. Something we can talk about a little bit later on. Is it incident that took place the other day with the Dodgers on a trip that was originally not thought to be taken to the mound.
Chase Utley with the bases loaded, 2 outs, struck out in his first at-bat, and on his second at-bat lines one into center field, and a diving catch made by Steven Duggar to end the inning. Utley hit it right on the button. Duggar robs him. The inning is over. The Dodgers lead 3. We go to the bottom of the second. They lead the Dodgers. I think they lead the Giants 1-0.
Value menus.
Mini plan. Enjoy this season filled with rivalry matchups, along with great promotions such as bobbleheads, kids giveaways, and Friday night fireworks. Visit Dodgers.com/mini plans. To the bottom of the second, after a quick and easy first inning for Kenta Maeda, he needed only 13 pitches, 8 of which were strikes to retire the Giants in order, and Evan Longoria who has gone from the Rays to the Giants. Boy, moving upstairs. Here's the 1-0 from Maeda to Longoria, 3 for 9. And a fly ball to center field. Chris Taylor racing on back, and he will make the catch a step or two in front of the warning track for the first out of the second.
You've got a lot of room in his ballpark from the day it was built. Long time ago. It's 430 to straightaway center. It's 360 down the left field line. It used to be 360 down the right field line, but they have moved it in. There is a half diamond back behind the right field fence, and they've added a cash cow also out there with some bleachers.
37th season for the Giants playing here. Pablo Sandoval takes inside and low, 1 ball and no strikes. Pablo. He's back. The Panda has returned. It just didn't work out at all for him in Boston. And he lines one into center field for a base hit. Boy, he waffled that one. So Sandoval, his 4th hit of the spring, first hit of the afternoon for the Giants. And Jared Parker coming up.
No, the Giants have had some problems. If you look at their field, the outfield has been inconsistent. A lot of different injuries. Third base for the last couple of years has really been kind of a black hole. They called up last year the rookie Arroyo. He was called up against the Dodgers. I remember some of those series. The first couple, Arroyo did everything but drag the infield. He made sensational plays defensively. He was looked like a Buster Posey clone from an offensive standpoint. And then Arroyo discovered, I'm in the big leagues, and boy, he had trouble.
Jared Parker, power hitting left-handed left fielder today, takes a ball outside and low, 1 ball, no strikes. So Arroyo, who looked like Mike Schmidt in the first series that he played against the Dodgers, and he got one standing ovation after another at AT&T Park. But then he came to realize it wasn't quite so easy. When all was said and done, he was part of the deal to the Rays, in which Longoria came to the Giants. 2 balls and no strikes to Jared Parker. He's 4 for 19 this spring. Sandoval is at first base. Sandoval was hitting .212 with the Red Sox at the time that he was jettisoned. And by the time he returned to San Francisco, the balance of the year, he hit .225. That's not what the Red Sox certainly were expecting when they signed him to that big deal. The Giants basically said, you want to come home? Fine. The Red Sox are going to pay the bulk of the freight. Sandoval could care less where the money's coming from.
Yeah, we saw more bat speed with that base hit up the middle than what we saw last year once he came over. The bat was slow really from both sides of the plate, being a switch hitter.
2 balls, 1 strike to Jared Parker. He's got a home run this spring. Maeda about to throw his 21st pitch. Set at the belt. Here it comes. The swing and a foul off to the left and out of play. Nick Hundley is on deck.
Well, Parker ran into problems last year. Mid-April, fractured right collarbone. It required surgery, so he did not come back until the first week of August.
That was just another ingredient in the nightmare season for the Giants. He can hit him a long way. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Grounds it foul up the first baseline. First base coach Jose Alguacil getting out of the way. Ron Rodas is the third base coach. He's been an aide for Bruce Bochy for the longest time. Had been the bench coach. And here's Bochy, entering his 12th season as the manager of the Giants. He is the 15th all-time winningest manager. Now the 2-2 swung on and missed, strike 3. Parker down on strikes. First strikeout of the game for Maeda. And the second out of the second.
Yeah, for Maeda, again, the call to arms is to be more aggressive. Try not to fall behind the counts and not be nibbling around the strike zone, and that's exactly what he's done so far through the first 6 batters.
Well, as you mentioned, going out to the bullpen late in the season last year made him much more aggressive. Now with 2 out, Nick Hundley, the Giant catcher this afternoon, takes a strike, 0-1.
Well, the other part too, Charlie, is that for Maeda, again, 25 starts in the 5 relief appearances. But if you look at those 25 starts, he did not average 5 innings for the season in every start.
No balls and a strike. Swing and a miss by Hundley, who's 3 for 7 this spring.
Now, whether it be stamina because of the pitch count or the fact the Dodgers have kind of redesigned their approach because they put really more emphasis on the bullpen in picking up most of their starting pitchers, with the exception of Clayton Kershaw. The bullpen is called in action more often with this Dodger ball club to pick up the workload.
No balls, 2 strikes. Hundley with a fly ball to right, slicing out of play. We can't quite reach it. It bounces on the warning track and over the side wall into the stands. Well, the theory seems to be around Major League Baseball, offenses begin to pick up the tendencies of a starting pitcher the 3rd time they see him. And consequently, then the pitchers will come out earlier, so they're not required to see the batting order for a 3rd time as Hundley fouls it back. Thus the greater usage of the bullpen.
Yeah, the Dodgers did such a great job last year in using the bullpen and not abusing them. In other words, the workload spread it around. An inning here, an inning there, an inning here, trying to set things up and get the ball to the back end, that being Kenley Jansen. And Jansen was called upon at times to work a couple of innings, certainly 1+ inning, but the bullpen was able to kind of separate the workload to where it was pretty even.
On 0-2, Hundley swings and misses on a breaking ball, and he's down on strikes. No runs, 1 hit, 2 strikeouts for Maeda. 1-0 Dodgers will go to the 3rd.
Reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Dodgers.
Well, Tony Watson, who was a trade deadline acquisition for the Dodgers and was terrific down the stretch for him last year, was able to parlay that into a big free agent contract with the San Francisco Giants. So he's seeing his old mates after Jeff Samardzija goes 2 innings today, a run and 3 base hits. 1-0. We'll go to the 3rd.
Watson 47 games with the Pirates, and he came over to the Dodgers and did 24 there with an ERA, a good one at 2.7, wearing the Dodger blue.
I remember the day that he arrived, and you were talking to him on the pregame, and the excitement that he felt. Here's Bellinger taking high and away, 1 ball and no strikes, almost as if he was escaping from Pittsburgh, the only home that he had ever known at the big league level. And then he's thrust into a pennant race and a game shy of winning the World Series. Tony Watson on 1-0. This is low and outside, 2 balls, no strikes.
Well, he overcame some problems with his shoulder to begin with, and then had elbow problems in 2009. Very intelligent, very articulate. He understands very well what he's going to do. And from the left side, boy, big man on the Dodgers pen.
2-0. It's outside. 3 balls, no strikes. Cody Bellinger leading off in the 3rd. Bellinger with 2 out, smashed a single into right field. Puig, who is on deck, would double him home. The only run of the game. 3 balls, no strikes. Top half of the 3rd. Bellinger taking all the way. It's a strike. 3-1. Bellinger really beginning to fill out. He's 22. Worked an awful lot in the offseason. The 3-1. Fly ball, left center field. And it's going to be tracked down by Steven Duggar. Made a terrific catch to end the 2nd inning and covered a lot of ground to track this one down off the bat of Bellinger.
His ballpark, it used to be rock hard. It's like a parking lot. They did a good job. This used to be kind of a for Arizona, some of the fields in particular, but this used to be kind of a breeding ground for shin splints, especially for outfielders. But it has softened up a great deal. A lot of work of ground crews over the years.
Now Puig, who doubled with 2 out, drove in the only run of the game. That was in the 1st, and a ground ball into center field for a base hit. So Yasiel Puig is 2 for 2. Grandal coming up. He bounced to second base in his first at bat. Yasmani is 1 for 14 so far this spring. He's in the final year of his contract with the Dodgers. Takes a strike, 0-1. One of 6 Dodgers last year to hit at least 20 home runs.
117 players in Major League Baseball have accomplished that.
Here's the 0-1. Inside and high. 1 ball, 1 strike. And last year, more home runs were hit than any other year in baseball history.
And the Giants did not have 1 player that hit 20 home runs. Brandon Belt, who missed the final 51 games because of concussion, was high with 18.
The 1-1. Grandal with a fly ball deep to right field. It's way back. It's on its way, and it's gone. A home run for Yasmani Grandal. His 2nd home run, or 2nd hit of the spring. His 1st home run. And the Dodgers now lead it 3-0.
And a ball out away from him. He just went with it. I mentioned at the outset of the game, it's about 12 or 15 mile an hour wind blowing out towards right center field. Perfect place to go. And Grandal stays right on it. That trip around the diamond sponsored by Daniels Jewelers, giving fans a $50 gift card for every home run. You can go to danielsjewelers.com/LA to claim. For every redemption, they're making a $50 donation to the Make-A-Wish Foundation. Daniels Jewelers, making diamond dreams come true since 1948.
So the Dodgers 3-zip on the Grandal 2-run home run. Peterson stepping in. Jock struck out in his first at-bat. And he swings and misses. It's 0-1.
Well, Yasmani's been working on the timing and trying to stay back on the ball. He stayed back better there. We saw him from the right side the first time this spring. From the left side, has been drifting forward. Very similar to what Jock Peterson has been doing.
Peterson takes outside and low. It's 1 ball, 1 strike.
Of course, last year, by my count, 7 different stances, batting stances by Jock Peterson, including 3 different stances during spring training alone.
The 1-1. Slider strike on the outside corner. And it is 1-2.
But on this simulcast, those that are watching can see is that his stride begins very early. And in anything that is off speed, his right foot is already on the ground and his knees are bent because his weight's going forward.
Now the 1-2. Slow tapper to second base. Panic comes in, picks it up, sidearm fling, throws out Peterson by a step, and there's 2 out.
No, that's what happens. You start early, and the front side is already broken down. You get the breaking ball. The only thing you can do is kind of surround the ball, kind of throw the bat at the ball, because you have already committed, and you're committing off of the delivery instead of the pitch.
2 out and 2 are in, and the Dodgers are leading it 3-0. In the top half of the third, Logan Forsythe stepping in. Forsythe a half a dozen home runs last year. Single to center in his first at-bat this afternoon. Tony Watson delivers. Low and inside, 1 ball and no strike.
Forsythe didn't talk about it, but boy, he was banged up a lot last year. He still answered the bell a great number of games, but he was not 100% by any stretch of imagination, but he was still out there.
1-0. Swing and a miss. Watson pulls the string. Forsythe well out in front. It's 1-1. Austin Barnes on deck. Forsythe takes a strike, and it's 1-2. Dodgers 3-0. In the top of the third, Watson on in relief of Jeff Samardzija. Lefty deals outside. 1-2. Forsythe played in 119 games last year. The 2-2. Line drive off the glove of Kelby Tomlinson, a base hit. It was almost as if Tomlinson might have misjudged or mistimed his leap.
I just wonder if that ball maybe was a knuckleball coming at him, because it looked like he had it in his sights, and all of a sudden the ball moved.
So a 2-out single for Forsythe. Austin Barnes stepping in. Barnes walked in his first at bat. Austin Barnes takes a strike, and it's 0-1. Barnes last year .289 and played in 102 games. Here's the 0-1. Wrap just foul up the third baseline. And it's 0-2. Let's pause here. 10 seconds for station identification on the Dodgers radio network. Charlie Steinerick Monday from Scottsdale Stadium. In the top half of the third, Austin Barnes takes high and inside. It's 1 ball, 2 strikes, and 2 out. Dodgers 3 runs and 4 hits. The Giants no runs and 1 base hit. Kike Hernandez is on deck. As Barnes grounds it to third. Nice easy hop for Sandoval. Throws wide, and Panic unable to keep his foot on the bag. Second base umpire Ron Culpa with the call.
Well, an error on the throw by Sandoval to second base. He tried to go the short way, but did not give Panic much to work with.
Actually, it was rookie umpire Nick Marley with the call.
Well, no replay in spring training. Panic thought his toe came back down on the bag.
Now with 2 out, Kike Hernandez takes low and outside. 1 ball, no strikes. The base umpires will switch around during the course of a game in spring training. Now the 1-0 on the way. It's outside. 2 balls and no strikes. Chris Taylor on deck. Watson's been struggling a bit. The 2-0 is a pop foul to the right and out of play.
Spring training, talking about umpires. There are 91 umpires for spring training. 76 of those full-time Major League Baseball umpires. And there are 15 minor league call-ups. And then there are a few invitees, if you will.
Not unlike spring training for players. Fly ball into left center field. Duggar. A lot of ground out there. Makes the catch. The inning is over. Dodgers tack on a couple of runs on 3 hits. Grandal with the home run. His first. Catch the excitement of college baseball next Sunday during the Dodger Stadium College Baseball Classic. TCU taking on Vanderbilt at 10:30, followed by the annual matchup of UCLA and USC at 3 o'clock. For tickets, visit Dodgers.com/classic. Maeda about to pitch his 3rd inning. He's given up no runs and a hit. He has struck out 2. And he is facing Stephen Duggar, who squares to bunt. Breaking ball for a call strike, 0-1. Kelby Tomlinson on deck, and then Joe Panik.
Duggar, 3 different stops last year. Played here in Scottsdale, Arizona League, San Jose, Sacramento. Not really a power guy.
What we've seen today in limited duty. Oh, not a power guy, huh? He belts one out of here. What a shot, Stephen Duggar.
Hanging pitch is a hanging pitch. Doesn't matter if it's regular season or in spring training. For Duggar, last year combined in 3 different stops, hit a total of 6 home runs was all. He hit that one like he's going to hit 40 or 50. Down the middle, and didn't stay in the ballpark too long, did it?
On his way to Grandma's house. Kelby Tomlinson coming up. Oh, the Dodger lead is 3-1. Tomlinson slaps one toward the right field corner. It is a foul ball. And just to get a little exercise in, Puig throws a one-hopper into second base from the right field corner.
Just practicing.
Practice. Tomlinson is 3 for 17 this spring. Maeda misses low and outside. 1 ball and 1 strike.
Tomlinson the last couple of years against the Dodgers in particular, he's had a few series and/or games. It's like he went into a phone booth, if you can find one anymore, and put on a Superman cape.
1-1 is a ground ball foul up the third baseline. That is 1-2.
Out of Chickasaw, Oklahoma. Giants signed him out of Texas Tech. .258 hitter a season ago.
By and large, a utility infielder. He's starting at shortstop today with Brandon Crawford taking this Sunday off. Called third strike. Breaking ball from Maeda. Third strikeout for Kenta. That's the first out of the third. And Joe Panic coming up.
And Dave Roberts making a trip to the mound.
Which means Kenta Maeda will be taking a trip into the clubhouse. Left-hander Brian Moran has been warming up for the Dodgers, and he'll be coming in when we come back. Brian Moran now pitching for the Dodgers. New York boy. Lives in Scottsdale. Born up in Portchester. Was a 7th round pick by the Mariners in 2009. This is his 2nd appearance of the spring. And has pitched 2 scoreless innings. Facing Joe Panic. He's a New York kid. And on one hop, he bangs a base hit into right field. Panic played out of St. John's.
Where he going?
Brandon Belt coming up. Belt popped to short left field in his first at-bat. Kike Hernandez came sprinting out from his shortstop position. Make a very nice, very difficult over-the-shoulder catch. Wind is whipping around some. Belt takes a strike, and it's 0-1.
Belt again, 51 games that he missed at the final part of the season with concussions, and he was just not right. Very lethargic, had some problems, but still led the Giants, even though he missed the 51 games with home runs, 18.
Here's the 0-1 outside. 1 ball, 1 strike. But Moran's got a bit of a herky-jerky motion. Left-handed pitcher.
Yeah, he's moved around. Originally signed by the Mariners. We've been the Blue Jays organization, Angels, Indians, Braves, and now with the Dodgers.
He's 29. Belt got to check his swing, went around. Bill Miller, the third base umpire. And Belt steps out of the batter's box. Only now, I think, realizing that it was a strike. 1-2.
And he went around.
Now Moran steps off the rubber and fakes the throw. Moran, 6'4", 2 1/4. Sidearm delivery, missing low and outside, and it's 2-2.
Moran at one time said he modeled his game after Barry Zito. The lefty had great success, obviously, with the A's, then came over the Giants. But his delivery is one that, as a hitter, you're going to be watching very closely.
Here's a 2-2. Oh, ball 3.
Different arm angle.
Lots of moving parts. Last year, this time a year ago, he was pitching for Bridgeport in the Independent Atlantic League. Signed by the Dodgers in the middle of July. And pitched 19 games at AA Tulsa. Belt gets high and inside, ball 4.
Well, for Moran, baseball in the family. His uncles, B.J. Surhoff and Rich Surhoff.
B.J. he grew up there in Westchester. And like B.J., Brian Moran played his college ball at North Carolina. Andrew McCutchen is the hitter, and he takes a strike. It's 0-1. McCutchen bounced to third in his first at-bat.
McCutchen stays healthy. In my opinion, this is just a terrific pickup for the San Francisco Giants.
Well, he's a clubhouse leader. He's a model citizen. He's an MVP. And basically, he can reboot his career. And now the Dodgers are going to exercise a mound visit here as Grandal goes out to talk with Moran.
You know, I mentioned earlier about the mound visits. And on Friday, when Tom Kohler threw a pitch, he felt something. He didn't let anybody know. He called Yasmani Grandal out to the mound. Grandal then, talking to Kohler, motioned to the dugout. Well, they had to take Kohler out. He has a shoulder problem. He's going to miss, well, we don't know how long. He's on the disabled list. But come to find out, Dave Roberts learned that was charged as a trip to the mound.
McCutchen swings and misses, 0-2.
Even though the pitcher was removed in that trip. But Roberts got clarification for the umpires. He's told to avoid the penalty of an injured pitcher, you must first get the attention of the umpire behind home plate or another umpire, or get the attention of someone in your dugout first.
No balls, 2 strikes. McCutchen takes high and away. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
So another twist and turn to the visit to the mound. And I think something obvious, such as a line drive back to the mound, and you go over to check on it, that cannot possibly be considered a trip visit.
What was also interesting was plate umpire would get nicked as McCutchen gets under it, skies it down the left field line into the stands and out of play. The umpire got nicked, and so general protocol is that the umpire has been wounded by a foul tip. A catcher will go out and buy some time for the umpire to clear his head. Well, I don't know. I can't recall if it was Randazzo before he got hurt. He got somebody got dinged, and the umpire allowed the catcher to go out.
Yeah, said please go out.
Yeah, I got to clear the webs for a moment. So again, this is a work in progress. Ran into a former big league umpire last night talking about the new rules and to say, hey, this is going to be a process. There's no exact definition yet of a mound visit. Now, again, does an infielder, when he walks 15 feet toward the mound, not stepping on the hill, is that a visit? And if so, what indeed is that mound visit? A work in progress. Again, the Major League Baseball trying to do what they can to speed up the pace of game, but the difficulty in spring training is with all these pitching changes. McCutchen fouls it off to the right, 2 balls 2 strikes 1 out in the top half of the 4th. With all these changes, 6, 7, 8 pitchers per side, there's no way you can pick up the pace of play. Unfortunately, you're not going to see that kind of those pitching changes in that number during the regular season. So they're all trying to figure this stuff out. 2 balls 2 strikes. Moran delivers in the dirt, and it's now 3 balls and 2 strikes. Grandal behind the plate today. Austin Barnes also in the lineup as the DH.
Well, earlier today in the first at bat by Yasiel Puig, the count went to 3-1 before he doubled in a run. He stepped out of the batter's box, and then I don't know if the home plate umpire said something, but he jumped in realizing, oh, I can no longer leave the box.
The 3-2 swung on and missed, strike 3. Runner goes, and Panic will beat the throw. The runners were running with the full count and 1 out. The Panic arrives at third.
Yeah, they're saying interference also. The swing of McCutchen interfered with the throw is what the home plate umpire is saying, and they're going to check also with the next umpire. They're going to send the runners back.
Ripperger, the home plate umpire, talking to Bill Miller, the third base umpire and crew chief. And Miller tells the runners to go back.
Yeah, now that was inadvertent contact. The swing went into Yasmani Grandal. So the batter is out. The runners are returned to their initial bases.
So it's first and second, 2 out as Longoria is coming up. Longoria flied to center field in his first at-bat. Dodgers a 3-0 lead, 2 on 2 out in the bottom half of the 3rd. Moran delivers inside and low, 1 ball and no strikes. Last year at Double-A, Moran held the opposition to a 182 batting average, and lefties hit a meager 139 against him. Sandoval on deck. Longoria takes inside and low. It's 2 balls and no strikes.
For Longoria, there is just 1 season at the big league level that he has not hit at least 20 home runs. Don't blame the rap on him. 2012 because of injuries. Just played 74 games that year.
Inside and low, 3 balls and no strikes.
So he's hit as many as 33. Actually 36 a couple of years ago. Over 4 different years, he's hit 30 or more home runs.
Was Rookie of the Year in 2008. He's won the Gold Glove 3 times. A 3-time All-Star. Takes a strike. 3-1. He's 32.
And again, third base the last couple of years for the San Francisco Giants has indeed been just a black hole defensively and offensively.
On 3-1. Chopper to third. Backhanded stab by Forsythe. Steps on third base. Force out. Inning over. 1 run, 1 hit on the Duggar home run. Dodgers 3-1 after 3.
Fresh from uniquely LA.
New pitcher for the Giants is Derek Law, right-hander. Pitching out of the bullpen last year, an ERA north of 5, and opponents hit more than 300 against him. Tony Watson went 1 inning, gave up 2 runs and 3 base hits. Dodgers have a 3-0 lead. We begin the 4th, top of the order. Chris Taylor, Chase Utley, and Cody Bellinger. Taylor's 3rd plate appearance. He's popped to second and has walked. Law delivers a breaking ball for a strike, and it's 0-1. Place is packed, as you might imagine. Dodgers and Giants in Scottsdale. As Taylor takes low and outside. 1 ball, 1 strike. Derek Law. Line drive foul. Fancy footwork. Self-preservation for Ron Culpa at first base.
Feet, don't leave me now.
Dodgers 3 runs and 4 hits. Giants 1 run and 3.
Derek Law, his father Joe, spent 9 seasons with the A's organization. He spent 4 days on a big league roster. Never did actually pitch in a game at the big league level.
2-2, blowing outside, 3-2.
But he came close. So all of 4 days at the big league level, his dad Joe, he was told, hey, look, you're on alert. A's are on the road in Cleveland. Dave Stewart was the scheduled pitcher. Stewart had the flu. They told him, hey, look, there's no way the Stew's going to be able to go very long in a game. Well, Dave Stewart that day pitched a complete game.
On 3-2. Low and outside, ball 4. So Taylor, his second walk of the day. Lead-off walk in the 4th.
So Stewart goes the complete game. Pitched out of a jam with a pop-up at the 9th inning. And Dad Joe was optioned back to the minor leagues between games of the doubleheader.
Oh,
that ain't right.
Talk about a seat filler at the Oscars, huh?
Hey, get up. We need that chair.
Yeah, the star is about to return to the seat.
So close and yet so far away.
What? Quit showbiz. Well, the Oscars tonight. And there are those who that's their job for the night. You're a seat filler. So somebody has to go up and introduce or do a bit. Somebody's got to sit in there, so they have those handsome men and pretty women go sit in the seat until the star is ready to return. Joe Law, thank you. Chase Utley, no balls, 1 strike. Taylor at first base. Good size lead. Law set at the belt, and the pitch is a strike on the inside corner. It's 0-2.
Perfect fit for Chase Utley. A lot of different roles last year. Of course, he's out of Pasadena to begin with. UCLA, and makes his offseason home in Los Angeles anyway. So he was delighted to come back. Dodgers are delighted to have him back.
He's essentially a player coach as he takes high and outside. 1 ball and 2 strikes.
Well, he's always, when you get shots in the dugout in games that he's not playing, he's always perched right at the top of the rail. He analyzes, sees everything. Like when you talk about the guys that really have the acuity in the game itself. They see the big picture. They see everything that happens on the field.
Toss to first base. Taylor back with a head-first slide. Taylor 17 stolen bases last year in 21 tries. And they try to drink as much knowledge out of Utley, the other players do, as they possibly can. As he lines one into right center field for a base hit. And that's going to split the seam and go practically to the wall. That's going to give Taylor plenty of time to come around and score. Utley's at second base with a stand-up double. And the Dodgers now lead it 4-1.
Yeah, for Chase Utley now in a backup role. Going to play occasionally here and there, no question about that. And if there's an injury, boy, he can fill it in nicely. But he has a chance now, latter stages of his career, to stay a little bit stronger, not playing maybe every day. But boy, how delightful was it 2 years ago, Corey Seager in his rookie year. It seemed like after every batter there was a conversation between the veteran Utley and the rookie then Seager somewhere around the second base bag.
Now Bellinger swings and misses, 0-1. With Utley at second base, kind of reminiscent of when Greg Maddux came to the Dodgers, the seasoned veteran who certainly can still pitch pretty well, but he would be on the bench. Maddux would call strike to Bellinger, and other pitchers would sit by him. Derek Lowe immediately comes to mind, and just try and gain whatever insights that the Hall of Famer Greg Maddux could provide, and he loved doing it. Bellinger takes inside, and so to some degree Maddux, when he was with the Dodgers, was kind of a pitching coach as well as a steadying presence in that clubhouse. And Maddux was about the age of where Utley is now. Golfed into short right center field, where it's going to be caught by Steven Duggar. Tagging and going to third is Utley, and he beat the throw. Father Time has yet to introduce himself to Chase Utley, or if he has, Utley has said, I'll have none of it.
Well, it's the perfect time to tag, because Duggar, who's been very active in the outfield today, has to go over to right center field. His momentum is taking him a little bit towards right field when he catches the ball. Utley knows that's going to be a close play. Difficult to come in, make the throw. Terrific throw, no question about it.
He's so darn smart.
Well, he's always looking for the edge.
And more times than not, he finds it.
Yep.
That forces the Giants to bring the infield in against Yasiel Puig, who takes a strike, and it's 0-1.
By the way, just talking about Corey Seager just a second ago, Dave Roberts was saying that Seager will return to the lineup tomorrow in action. He was part of that virus that went around as well. He will not play on the field, but he will serve as the designated hitter.
Puig swings and misses, and it's 0-2. Puig has doubled, singled, driven in a run, and scored a run. Dodgers leading at 4-1. A run already in here in the fourth. No balls and 2 strikes. Now the pitch. Puig takes it up and in. And it's 1-2. Those are the little things. I mean, just Utley advancing from second to third on a fly ball to right center. He still has good speed. Puig swings and misses down on strikes on a breaking ball. Second out of the inning.
But knowing when to push the envelope. You don't have a whole lot of time either to make those calculations. You better be aware of what you can do as well.
Grandal with 2 out. Utley leading off third. Grandal takes a strike, 0-1.
I mentioned earlier about Grandal when he hit the home run the opposite way from the right side of the plate. I mentioned that his stride was shorter than it was on the left side, and again we saw the long stride, early stride, taking that strike.
Here's the 0-1. Fisted foul to the left, just short of the Dodger dugout.
And there's the long stride, the early stride, and he jammed himself. So the irony of it is he stays back on the home run, batting from the right side. Yet he's still lunging and striding early from the right side, and he ties himself up.
So now he's in a hole, 0-2, and
with a new bat.
Going to need a new bat.
Warranty expired on the other one.
Jam session.
What happens as a hitter sometimes you say, well, geez, I'm getting jammed. I'm going to start it early. You fall into a deeper hole. Staying back, you can be quicker with your hands.
On 0-2, breaking ball low, 1-2.
Now golfers will understand that. Boy, if you're sliding forward, you're way out in front of the golf ball. No, blocked. You stay behind the ball. Keep your head behind the ball. Yeah, you get the club head through.
1 ball, 2 strikes, and the pitch. It's high, 2-2.
But isn't it strange? From one side, you're overly aggressive in an early stride, and the other side, not. There's nothing easy about hitting from one side of the plate. I cannot fathom how it is to be a switch hitter.
2-2. Grandal fouls it off to the left and out of play.
Although conversation with the great Maury Wills, who was a switch hitter. MVP. He was the leader of the pack, really, with those great Dodger teams, 60s. I asked Maury once, I said, what's it like to be a switch hitter in your slumps? He says, oddly enough, he was never in a slump from both sides of the plate at the same time.
The 2-2. Grandal fouls it off to the left again.
Which I'd wondered. It's agonizing enough to be in a slump just from one side of the plate. Can you imagine a switch hitter? No, I'm in a slump. From which side? Both.
I remember when growing up watching Mickey Mantle, who was a switch hitter, may have been the greatest switch hitter of all time, the 2-2. Line to center field, Duggar going back, and he'll be there to make the catch. Mantle didn't get in slumps very often because he bunted so well and used his speed for little dinky hits, but he was more than happy to get him and get out of the slump that way. Dodgers. Henry Owens, who was born in Orange and lives down in Huntington Beach. Now on in relief for the Dodgers. And a new catcher, Will Smith. And Donovan Solano takes over at second base. So we're at that portion of the program now where there's going to be a lot of substitutes. But there's more, and we'll get to them as we can. So here's Henry Owens. His first pitch is outside, 1 ball, no strikes. Maeda began the game, went 2 1/3, 28 pitches, 18 for strikes. Gave up a run and 2 hits and a home run. Moran went 2/3 of an inning, no runs and a hit, and now Owens, big tall fella. Sandoval swings and misses, 1 ball, 1 strike. He's 6'6", 205. At the first 6 years of his career in the Red Sox organization, and has had a brief tour of duty at the big league level. Owens missing outside, 2 balls and a strike. 11 appearances in 2015 with the Red Sox. 5 appearances in 2016 and spent last year at AAA. 2 balls and a strike. Owens delivered. Breaking ball, swing and a miss. Sandoval swung so hard the bat came out of his hand, went all the way to the backstop. So we've mentioned that Donovan Solano is now at second base for the Dodgers. Alex Verdugo has taken over in right field for Yasiel Puig. And Trace Thompson has taken over in center field for Chris Taylor. Henry Owens 2-2 to Sandoval, bottom of the 4th. Dodgers leading 4-1. Sandoval with a fly ball to left field. In and over. And Jock Peterson making the catch. First out of the 5th. So Sandoval flies to left. Jared Parker coming up. Parker struck out in his first at-bat. Outfield straight away as Owens delivers a strike. It's 0-1. Henry Owens, Edison High School. Red Sox took him in the first round in 2011. And it's a ball and a strike now to Jared Parker. Dodgers picked him up off waivers from the Diamondbacks. Diamondbacks claimed him on waivers from the Red Sox, but he'd be in the organization all of 2 weeks when the Dodgers picked him up off waivers from Arizona. 1-2 with 1 out.
He's had a good fastball. That is as high as 96.
On 1-2. Breaking ball swung on and missed, strike 3.
Boy, that's just a big power breaking ball right there.
So the lefty Moran goes 2 1/3, no runs and a hit. And now the lefty Owens has retired the first 2 batters he's faced here in the bottom of the 4th. Nick Hundley is coming up. Hundley struck out in his first at-bat. Grounded foul up the third baseline past Ron Wotus. And it's 0-1. Next game on television will be Thursday. Dodgers and Indians at Goodyear. Next game on the radio will be Friday. Dodgers and Royals at Camelback Ranch. No balls and 1 strike to Nick Hundley, who swings and misses as Owens pulls the string a bit. It's 0-2. He's not quite as tall as Graham Lloyd. You may remember him, the Australian lefty. But this kid mechanically looks about the same. Fouled off to the right and out of play. No balls, 2 strikes, 2 out. We're in the bottom of the 4th. Dodgers are on top 4-1 as Hundley awaits the pitch. Grounded foul up the third base line. Hundley came up with the Padres in 2008. And since then has done some time in Baltimore, Colorado, and now his second season with the Giants. Nick's dad was a college football coach at UCLA, SMU, UTEP, Washington, Colorado, Oregon State, Idaho, and UNLV. Hundley fouls it back.
Sounds like the announcement of a train leaving the station.
Tough way to earn your keep. Nick Hundley played football. He was a defensive back and a quarterback. Now he's the catcher for the Giants. Owens delivers a swing and a foul off to the right and out of play.
Well, Hundley, another athletic family, and he was with some pretty good competition at an early age. When he was 12 years of age, he played on a traveling team. At the alumni of that team, Ryan Braun and James Shields.
On 0-2, Hundley takes inside and low, 1 ball and 2 strikes. Steven Duggar is on deck. One ball, 2 strikes. Now the pitch. Probably fouls it into the dirt, and they'll see another one. Owens about to throw his 18th pitch of the inning on 1-2 to Nick Hundley. Here it comes. It's low. 2-2.
Oh, Hundley, that backup role to Buster Posey. One of the areas that he improved upon, throwing out base stealers. Only 14% throughout 2016. Last year, almost 30%.
2-2 to Hundley. Here comes the pitch. Inside, 3-2. So Owens gets the first 2 batters rather easily. Sandoval flied to left, and Parker would strike out. But now it's a full count in the 20th pitch of the inning upcoming. On 3-2, Henry Owens to Nick Hundley. It's low, ball 4. Now Steven Duggar coming up, and Duggar, a home run in his last at-bat off Kenta Maeda, who went 2 1/3 a run and 2 base hits.
That's a cold beer. Hey, cold beer.
Two out, bottom half of the 4th. Owens delivers over the head and all the way to the backstop. Duggar has to get out of dodge, and as he does so, his helmet comes flying off.
You know what also happens is that Will Smith, the catcher, is making a trip out to the mound, and I wonder if it even dawned on him as that, hey, that's a trip to the mound. Now again, it's not going to matter in spring training, but home plate umpire Mark Repliger pulls out his lineup card, as we're seeing the umpires do, and writes it down, and then he makes a signal up to the official score as well.
Kind of like in basketball, personal fouls. 6 and you're out. 6 trips to the mound.
Well, that's scary right there for a hitter, because the ball's coming right at your gourd, and quite frankly, you don't know which way to move to begin with.
2 balls and no strikes. Owens set. Now the pitch. There's a strike. 2-1.
And then he comes back with a breaking ball, which starts at you as a left-handed hitter with a big sweeping curveball from a left-handed pitcher. No wonder he took it.
So Owens on 2-1. This is high and outside. 3-1. Owens having difficulty finding this 3rd out. Three balls and a strike, and back-to-back walks. Now Tomlinson coming up. And Dave Roberts is going to make a move. Another mound visit. He may be just trying to he's going to take him out. That's that. Retires 2 batters, walks 2. Yasiel Sierra will be coming in when we come back.
7, 8.
Time in Oklahoma City and Tulsa with an ERA of a shade over 3. So Owens got the first 2 batters easily. Well, then back-to-back walks to Hundley and Duggar. Gregor Blanco is now going to pinch hit for Kelby Tomlinson. Dodgers leading it 4-1. Blanco. First pitch, fly ball, right field. Verdugo's there, and that's going to do it. Sierra says, look, that's easy. No runs, no hits, 2 walks, 2 left. We'll go to the 5th. Dodgers 4 and the Giants 1. New pitcher for the Giants, the now veteran left-hander, Josh Osich. 54 appearances last year. And an ERA of 6.25. Giants have made some other changes. Gregor Blanco is now in center field. He had pinch hit for Steven Duggar. They've made some other changes too, which we will get to. Jock Peterson to lead off for the Dodgers. They're in the 5th, leading at 4-1, and Jock is 0 for 2. Osich misses inside, 1 ball and no strikes. As Peterson swings and misses, 1-1. So Bruce Bochy is making some moves for the Giants. His 12th year with San Francisco. You know, he's the 15th winningest manager of all time. As Peterson grounds to second base, an easy play. He's retired first out of the 5th. Of the 14 managers ahead of him in wins, 12 are in the Hall of Fame, and the only exceptions are Gene Mauch and Dusty Baker. Logan Forsythe coming up. Bochy, one of 10 managers with at least 3 World Series championships. The other 9 are in the Hall of Fame. Only Mike Scioscia, who's been with the Angels for 19 years, is longer with one club than Bochy in his 12th year. He's got it figured out, but he's got some help today. Inside, Logan Forsythe. Maybe. Well, he's there. Boomer. Chris Berman, a longtime Giant fan, is acting manager. Well, he was acting SportsCenter anchor for about 100 years. Bow back to the score. 1-2. Boomer. Talk about an old friend. And we're both getting older. When you look back on the history of ESPN, which went on the air in September of 1979, Boomer was one of the originals. Low and outside, and an original in every sense of the word. He grew up in Connecticut, not far from, coincidentally, where ESPN would be built. Fly ball to center field. That's Gregor Blanco there to make the catch. Second out. In the halcyon days of ESPN and SportsCenter with Boomer and Bob Lee and Tom Mees, and later on Keith and Dan and Robin Roberts, young Mike Tirico and Chris Fowler. Just to be a part of that group was, we were fortunate. Barnes with a base hit and a right field, a 2-out single to right. And as ESPN began to take off in the mid to late 80s, we were the last ones to realize it was taking off. As we were going out those early days covering stories. Where are you from? ESPN. And they say, how do you spell it? And ESPN is what? Sports? 24/7? Come on. And it was Berman who was probably the biggest of them all. And so it's good to see Boomer. Talking to Ron Wotus, leaning over the dugout. Wotus, like Berman, is a Connecticut guy. Kike Hernandez with a fly ball to right. Didn't get quite enough of it. Slides it out. The inning is over. That's going to do it. No runs, 1 hit, 1 man. Well, for those of you watching on television, what we're about to tell you means little or nothing, other than the fact that those on radio are listening to What Makes You Country by Luke Bryan. Luke Bryan brings his What Makes You Country XL stadium-sized tour to Dodger Stadium, along with Sam Hunt and special guests John Party and Morgan Wallen, Saturday, July the 28th. Get tickets for the biggest country party of the summer Friday morning at 10 o'clock from livenation.com.
Now, if you were to hum a few bars, those on the television side of the simulcast would get the flavor. Go ahead.
They might, but they will not have that opportunity. Yasiel Sierra beginning his first full inning of relief. The Dodgers make some defensive changes. Henry Ramos takes over in left field. Matt Beattie at third base. Drew Jackson, first time we're seeing him at shortstop. Edwin Rios is at first. Dodgers on top 4-1. Panic takes a walk to begin the fifth inning.
Chevy Silverado, strong, capable, and built to stand the test of time. The most dependable, long-lasting, full-size pickup on the road. Find new roads at your local SoCal Chevy dealer.
Brandon Belt coming up. So the Dodger outfield now. Defensively, in left is Henry Ramos. Trace Thompson in center. Alex Verdugo in right. Brandon Belt coming up. Sierra gives up the leadoff walk, and Belt squares the bunt with the shift on. Takes it back, and it's a strike, 0-1. The wind has been a steady presence this afternoon, blowing from left field toward right. As Belt takes inside and low. It's 1-1. Now a pinch runner at first base for Panic, Alan Hansen. Sierra on 1-1. Delivers a strike, and it's 1-2. Game time temperature 65 degrees. So the wind, if you're in the shade, it's pretty chilly. In the sun, it's pretty near perfect. Quick toss to first base, and Hansen, the speedster, back with a head first slide. Andrew McCutchen is on deck. Belt popped to short and has walked. Sierra delivers a breaking ball inside, and it's 2-2.
Sierra, the youngster out of Cuba. Dodgers signed him international free agent 2015. 6'1", 180.
Got that Ramon Martinez kind of look as he delivers a call, strike 3, and Belt has been struck out. Now let's pause 10 seconds for station identification on the Dodgers radio network. Charlie Steinrich Monday coming to you from Scottsdale Stadium. For the Dodgers and the Giants, for that matter. Their 11th spring training game. Each team is 4-5-1. As McCutchen takes a strike, it's 0-1. Andrew McCutchen, of course, came over in the offseason from the Pirates. 0 for 2 this afternoon. Sierra deals. Breaking ball. Ground ball to third. Backhanded stab. Nicely done by Forsythe, but the throw. McCutchen is safe at first.
McCutcheon, when he first came up, I mean, he had blinding speed. He got out of the box very quickly here. Nice pickup. Well, that was a do-or-die play over at third base. Matt Beattie just in the ballgame, but McCutcheon able to beat it out and rewarded with a pinch runner.
And Miguel Gomez is now going to hit. So Matt Beattie came in to take over for Forsythe at third base here in the bottom half of the fifth. Mac Williamson is pinch running for McCutcheon. Miguel Gomez pinch hitting for Evan Longoria.
Dave Roberts was talking about Sierra, a young man, international competition. He's under his belt with Team Cuba, but he relied a lot on his sliders. And for Roberts and Rick Honeycutt, the Dodgers pitching coach, they saw him come over, throw bullpen sessions.
As Gomez fouls it up the first base line.
So he saw him throwing the bullpen very early before he got into spring training games. We saw him a week ago last Friday as well. But they said, look, you're relying upon the slider maybe a little bit too much. Looked a lot of video and said, look, you need to come in and use that sinker also very effectively. Get some ground balls, challenge some batters.
1 ball, 1 strike, and 1 out. Gomez swings and misses. Breaking ball. Gomez missed it by quite a bit. It's 1-2.
Yeah, that's that back foot slider, that breaking ball that by the time a left-handed batter swings at it, right-hander delivers it. It's really at your back foot.
Two on, 1 out, bottom of the 5th. Josh Rutledge in the on-deck circle, getting ready to pinch hit for Sandoval. Sierra set. Here's a pitch. Swung on and missed. Strike 3. Same pitch, same result. Gomez is done. There's 2 out. Dodgers with a run in the first, 2 in the third, 1 in the fourth. The Giants' only run of the game in the 3rd inning. A home run by Steven Duggar, who is now out of the game. And another mound visit.
And another check mark on the official scorecard held by the umpire, home plate.
What are we up to, 3? Or so?
Or so.
Ish. Rutledge takes low, 2 balls and no strikes. Rutledge came up with the Rockies in 2012. Spent the last 3 seasons up and down with the Red Sox. The 2-0 from Sierra. Breaking ball for a strike. That's 2-1.
Out of the University of Alabama.
Sierra deals. Look at breaking ball again. And it's 2-2. Kind of froze Rutledge.
Evidently, he read the same thing that I did. That Dave Roberts and Rick Honeycutt said, go to that sinker more often.
Now on 2-2, Sierra steps off the rubber.
Come on, Josh.
Rutledge had 107 at-bats with the Red Sox last year in 27 games.
Rutledge 6 at-bats away from 1,000 in his major league career.
Now the 2-2 from Sierra. Ball strike 3, and that's going to do it. Finished the ball with a fastball down and away. So Sierra strikes out the side, walks a batter, gives up an infield hit. Giants, no runs and 2 hits, will go to the 6th. Dodgers. Guarantee your tickets to opening day with a 2018 mini plan. Enjoy this season filled with rivalry matchups, along with great promotions such as bobbleheads, kids giveaways, and Friday night fireworks. Visit Dodgers.com/mini plans. Corey Guerin is taking over on the hill for manager Bruce Bochy. 68 appearances last year. And it was a coming-of-age season for him with an ERA of under 2 and opponents barely hitting 200 against him. Trace Thompson leads it off for the Dodgers. As we head to the 6th, they lead it 4-1. This is his first at-bat of the day. Guerin's first pitch is a strike on the outside corner, and it's 0-1. Trace Thompson 4 for 10 this spring as an RBI. Here's the 0-1. Grounded foul toward the Dodger dugout. That is 0-2. Thompson is out of options, and so he'll either make it or break it at the end of spring. Alex Verdugo is on deck.
Which is really an added incentive for a young player.
Guerin on 0-2. Outside 1-2.
From an incentive, it's also a challenge. If you have a good spring and you're out of options, I mean, there's some other clubs going to be looking around to to pick up an outfielder.
1 ball, 2 strikes. Guerin set at the belt. Now here's the pitch outside, and it's 2-2. Trace Thompson awaits the 2-2 from Corey Guerin, and here it comes. It's outside, 3-2.
Guerin's delivery, just really a lot of snap action right at the elbow at the last second. And just looking up in the record, yep, he's been on the deal 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different times. Mostly with the elbow, also with the shoulder.
3 balls and 2 strikes. Now the pitch. Popped up behind the plate. Hundley's going to run out of room. About 8 or 10 rows back behind the plate.
From time to time, you look at a pitcher and you say, well, he's all arm. And by that is, it's not mechanically one of those areas that you're kind of putting the stress and strain on a lot of different body parts. I mean, it's strictly arm, shoulder with Guerin, and not a surprise that he's had some issues with trying to stay healthy with his right arm.
There's nothing fluid about his motion. Here's a 3-2. Thompson pops this one up right side of the infield. Alan Hansen, the second baseman, makes the catch. Thompson pops out, first out of the 6th.
You know, you see a pitcher, and when you release the ball, if he's standing straight up, which Guerin is pretty upright once he releases the ball, it's a lot of stress and strain on the arm. Put it this way, I don't believe that they're looking at the follow through.
Well, throwing a baseball is just not a natural thing to do. You got a shoulder that's going up and back, an elbow that's going in directions that even a fluid motion is not comfortable. Met someone last night whose grandfather knew Carl Hubble. Hubble with the screwball. By the end of his career, could not straighten his left elbow out. And thus we have the Tommy John surgeries and all of that, as Verdugo takes a strike. Throwing a softball is a more natural.
Much more natural. That's why the Eddie Feiner,
king of his court,
pitched forever.
Verdugo takes outside, 2-1.
And Eddie Feiner with that windmill softball pitch. His pitching arm got longer, his right arm, than his left arm.
It was longer and thicker. Verdugo asked for time just before Guerin's going to unleash the pitch.
Verdugo, as we noticed the other day, he's one of the few players that wears a high top shoe in baseball.
2 balls and 1 strike. Now Verdugo takes a breaking ball at the knees for a strike. It's 2-2.
Verdugo's also a guy that you don't see a whole lot of guys do it any longer. He has a slightly open stance, but he's really on top of the plate. His back foot, his left foot, is about as close as you can get to that closest line to the plate, the batter's box.
2 balls, 2 strikes. And he golfs it into at least the left side of the infield, where Orlando Calixte makes the catch.
So high tops are not when you're crowding the plate and you get jammed inside. One of the things you look at hitters. What prompts a hitter to stand in a certain spot in the batter's box? You see a lot of guys that stand well off the plate because they don't like the ball in on their hands real tight.
Now Henry Ramos, his first at bat of the day. Dodgers leading at 4-1 with 2 out in the top of the 6th. He takes a strike, and it's 0-1. Well, where did you stand, left-handed hitter, and why?
I just felt comfortable. I was not really on top of the plate, just close to it, slightly closed. I just felt more comfortable there. I did not like standing a long way from home plate and felt like I was reaching for the ball. So Ramos, kind of medium, slightly open stance. Saw him a couple of days ago. He is powerfully built.
1 ball and 1 strike to Henry Ramos, who swings and misses, and is 1-2.
There are a lot of guys also, Charlie, who stand a long distance from home plate. That's their initial setup, but they're what they call diving into the ball. In other words, their stance, their stride is a little bit more closed.
Ramos is 0 for 8 this spring. And a fly ball to center field. That's Blanco there. He'll make the catch, and that'll end the inning. No runs, no hits, no errors, and nobody left after 5.5. It's the Dodgers 4 and the Giants 1. Sunny, breezy Sunday afternoon at Scottsdale Stadium. We head to the bottom half of the 6th inning. Dodgers leading at 4-1. New pitcher for the Dodgers is Daniel Corsino. Made 23 appearances at the minor league level last year. Couple of starts, an ERA of 4.2. Opponents hitting .223 against him.
He was with the Reds initially out of the Dominican Republic. 5 games at the big league level for Cincinnati 2014. Since that time, trying to work himself up to the top of the ladder again.
Giving up a run in 2 2/3 innings this spring. He has struck out 3 and walked 2. It's his 11th professional season. He's at the minor league level with the Dodgers for a time before, and now here is back again. Corsino misses low. 1 ball, no strikes. Chris Shaw leading it off for the Giants here in the 6th with Aramis Garcia on deck.
Those 5 games with the Reds 2014. His first appearance was on his birthday at the big league level.
Here's the 1-0. Shaw fouls it off to the right, and it's 1-1.
And how did he do in his birthday in his major league debut? A 1-2-3 ninth inning against the Chicago Cubs.
Blew out the Candles. Shut out the Cubs. Dodgers 4 runs and 8 hits, and the Giants a run and 4 base hits. As Corsino misses outside, And it's 2-1. None of the Dodgers starters today are in the lineup. And most of them are driving back to Glendale. Here's the 2-1. Shaw fouls it off to the right. And it's 2-2. Players have the option to drive over or take the team bus. If you drive over, you better be early.
Take the 101 loop north.
It's about a 40-minute drive or so from Glendale to Scottsdale. Here's a call, strike 3. Shaw down on strikes, and that's the first out of the bottom of the 6th.
Spring training. If you've ever been to a spring training game, it's a much more relaxed atmosphere. I saw my first Major League spring training game right here. Freshman, Arizona State. The Red Sox used to train here. And we came in, and big eyes. It was after practice when we came in, and it was late in the game, and an usher behind home plate found out that we were there and said, hey, come on, guys, sit down here behind home plate. So we did.
Aramis Garcia takes a ball low, 1 ball, no strikes.
And I saw this mountain of a man go to the mound to warm up for the Red Sox. And the first guy that I saw up close and personal, right behind home plate, Dick Raditz.
The monster.
And as a freshman in college, I go, oh my goodness.
Here's the 1-0. As Garcia pops it into short right. Verdugo taking charge and making the catch for the second out of the 6th.
And Raditz was one of those guys, as soon as he got to the mound, you could tell they fed him raw meat underneath the bars to the cage. And then they would open the cage up. Okay, your turn to pitch. And to see him pitch, and that's why it is incredible what happens about the speed of the game and how fast the ball is. And the closer you get to the field, the more you experience the true speed in this game.
Orlando Calixte with 2 outs. Swings and misses, nothing at 1. For those of you not old enough to remember Dick Raditz, forward maybe 15 years later, it's not unlike Goose Gossage. Big, strong, intimidating. The 0-1 is a fly ball to center field. Trace Thompson is there. He trips, falls, hangs on, and makes the catch. It wasn't pretty, but he got it done. Wind not his friend. Whoops. Falls on his back. The inning is over. No runs, no hits, no errors, nobody left. We'll go to the 7th. Dodgers 4-1.
Today's
baseball on Sunday, March 11th, next Sunday. At the Dodger Stadium College Baseball Classic, TCU will take on Vanderbilt, 10:30 in the morning, followed by the annual matchup of UCLA and USC at 3 in the afternoon. For tickets, visit Dodgers.com/classic. Jose Flores is the new pitcher for the Giants. An ERA of 3.21 last year between AA and AAA, and opponents hit .233 against him. Big fella. Delivers a strike, 0-1. Will Smith, his first at-bat of the day. Took over behind the plate. Here's Monty Grandal. Smith pops it foul to the right, out of play and into the stands. It's 0-2. Would you say Radis was 6'6", 230?
Yep. He had the nickname The Monster, given to him by Mickey Mantle.
Here's the 0-2, foul back to the screen. Now again, in the early to mid-60s, 6'6" and 230 was enormous. These days, just looking at Flores out on the hill, it's like he's about 6'5" or 6'6", maybe not big 230, but close to it. 6'6" and 230, or Frank Howard, for instance, was what, 6'7", about 260,
and the largest 6'7" I've ever seen.
Yeah. Everything about him was enormous. And now you've got, the Aaron Judges of the world and the Stantons, Puig, just outside. 1 ball, 2 strikes. So anybody much over 6'2" or 6'3", and much over, say, 215, 220. 50 years ago, and certainly before that, was an exception to the rule. A fly ball into right field, where Mac Williamson makes the catch. Will Smith is retired. First out of the 7th inning. The Dodgers leading 4-1.
But how about if you come up as a rookie and you're first facing the big league players, and you get a nickname that's given to you by Mickey Mantle, and the nickname was The Monster.
And it stuck.
Yes.
It was a great nickname. I mean, anything given to you by Mickey Mantle, you keep. And Solano bangs a base hit into left center field. And Solano will get to second base with a stand-up double. Solano with a base hit in his first at-bat of the afternoon. When we were kids, the average player is about 5'11" and maybe 195, 200. These days, it's a little guy. Matt Beattie stepping in for the Dodgers, left-handed hitter, his first at-bat of the day. Beattie takes low and outside, 1 ball and no strikes. The 1-0 with Solano leading off second base. A call strike to Beattie, and it's 1-1. Beattie is 4 for 11 this spring, a home run and 3 runs batted in. Dodgers have hit 18 home runs this spring. This is the 11th game by 13 different players. Grandal hit one today back in the 3rd inning, his first of the year. Mentioned earlier in the broadcast, the Dodgers had 6 different hitters with at least 20 home runs last year, and the Giants had none. Here's 2-1. Beatty, chopper slowly hit off the bag at second base and kicks into center field for a base hit. So Matt Beatty living large. Solano goes to third.
It's the second time this spring we've seen a ball hit the base. Saw it hit to third base. It was the last weekend at Camelback Ranch, Glendale.
Well, this one was a nice, high, leisurely room service hop that clanked off the bag. So Beatty's got himself a base hit, as Edwin Rios is coming up. Rios gets a strike, 0-1. Rocky Gale in the on-deck circle. Smith flied to right. Solano double to center. And Beatty bounces one off the bag. So it's first and third for the Dodgers, as Rios takes a strike. No balls, 2 strikes. 1 out. Top of the 7th. Flores delivers. Low. And it's 1-2. On 1-2, Flores delivers, and a looper into right center field for a base hit. That will score Solano. Beatty will go to third. Now Rios sliding into second base. He'll score as a throw kicks off the glove of Calixte. That will allow Beatty to come in and score the second run of the inning. And the Dodgers now lead it 6-1.
Well, I've been talking and talking over the last couple of years about the aggressive base running and thoughtful base running this Dodger ball club. And Rios started it. He was thinking double the entire way. Hit a tough pitch. It was coming inside on him. But Rios never stopped at first base. He pushed the issue. The throw gets away from the shortstop and very aggressively and heads up Beatty, with Chris Woodward, the third base coach, prompting him, scurries home for another run.
And Rocky Gale is the hitter. Takes a strike. It's 0-1.
But the younger players, too, have gotten the message, hey, guys, you have to run the bases aggressively. Think double when you hit a ball. Think an error. Even if it's going to be a single, think that the other guy might either lay back on the ball or bobble the ball. You can advance.
Rocky Gale, signed by the Dodgers about a week ago. Moves one into center field, or left center field, for a hit. In to score is Rios. Gale holds it first. Dodgers' third run of the 7th. It is now 7-1. Now Drew Jackson is coming up. First time we've seen him hit. Games such as this, where you've got mostly minor leaguers playing, when you see a 1-loss record for a team in spring training, that's why it's utterly meaningless. There's no suggestion at all whether this team is good, bad, or indifferent based on the kids who are playing from, say, the 3rd or 4th inning on. There's a strike, 0-1.
Example being the other day, the Dodgers were in surprise. They had the lead. Well, in the 9th inning, 8th inning, I believe it was.
Yeah,
I mean, you've got the kids that are playing, and there have already been a lot of pitchers used, so you're going to somebody that may have thought, hey, I'm not going to get in the game. Well, 6 runs given up to the other club.
The 0-1 is low and outside. Jackson 1-1.
So, yeah, the wins-loss records, they're posted, they're looked at, they're talked about, but they're rather meaningless.
Hey, they've won 6 in a row in spring.
Because this is not, obviously you want to be able to win games, but this is a situation where if a pitcher, maybe you're working on a pitch that particular day. As a hitter, maybe you're working on one area of fundamentals.
1-1, a breaking ball fouled off to the right, and it's 1-2.
I've told the story before, but years and years ago, the late Charlie Lau, who was really a hitting guru in his time. He was with the A's for a brief period of time before Joe DiMaggio became the hitting coach. He did something interesting in spring training. He told me, look, don't swing at anything but a curveball.
Now Jackson takes outside 2-2.
And the reason is that it was against a pitcher we were going to be facing very soon when the season was about to unfold. He said, but look, I only want you to swing at curveballs in this particular day.
Here's a 2-2. Fouled off to the right and out of play.
And I looked at him in somewhat quizzical look, but I understood later on it was a message because I had not been picking up the ball very well. So as a hitter, you're saying, okay, today I'm going to swing at breaking balls, or maybe today I'm not going to swing at any breaking balls. What it winds up doing is it forces you to pick up the baseball from the release point of the pitcher more rapidly. You're focused more.
Flores on 2-2 to Drew Jackson. Swung on at strike 3. That's the second out of the 7. Well, Charlie Lau, widely regarded as one of the great hitting coaches of all time, wasn't much of a hitter in his big league career.
No.
But he was what was it that made Charlie Lau so unique, and to this day, 20, 30 years after his passing?
I think one of the greatest things that he had going for him was the ability to observe a player to begin with. And by that I'm talking about we're all built differently. Our muscles twitch differently, more rapidly, more slowly than this guy or that guy. Our eyesight is different. Our depth perception is different. Our thought processes are different. But Charlie would observe someone to begin with and understand what made them tick.
Trace Thompson is the hitter. He fouls it off to the right. It's a ball and a strike with 2 out.
You know, some are more powerful, some are quicker with their hands than others. And Charlie would not teach everybody the same thing. Oh, later on he went with releasing the top hand after point of contact and then completing the swing. George Brett was a great believer in that. Obviously, it worked out pretty well for George. But Charlie had the ability to observe people and then work with what you had.
1-1. Thompson takes inside at low 2-1.
But he also went inside the head. He went inside the heart. And he didn't have time for you if you were not dedicated. Didn't have time for you. And rightfully so. His thought was, I won't waste your time if you don't waste mine.
On 2-1. Thompson awaits. And he lines one into center field for a base hit. Holding at second is Rocky Gale. As Verdugo coming up. And Chris Berman is coming out.
It's going to take a while.
To yank the pitcher. Boomer.
He's got to have a conversation to begin with.
A long
This
one.
cannot just be the hook right away.
Hey, if it's Boomer, it's going to be a long one. What?
Back.
Back. He's gone. Swah. We're coming back.
There's a new star in town, LA. Stay tuned for more.
Well, Jose Flores didn't have much today, but he has a memory that will linger forever. He got yanked by Chris Berman. The Swab. Boomer. What? Chaz. General. Chief.
I was watching Berman. He finally turned to home plate umpire, and he raised his right arm, I mean, way up into the air, like in the classroom. Okay, who has the answer to this question?
Ooh, Mr. Cotter. The 1-0 to Verdugo's inside.
But I noticed that Berman's timing was off because he raised his arm to indicate the right-hander after the right-hander had already come out of the bullpen.
And well after the right-hander Flores came out of the game. He could back time to the top of the hour with the best of them. His timing and replacing a pitcher, not so. Fouled off to the right and out of play.
The removal from the pitcher right there may be the shortest conversation that Chris Berman has ever had in his life.
Ever.
We both thought that he would milk the situation.
Well, he didn't exactly milk it. You know, it was kind of like a drop. A drop in the bucket. Verdugo to center field. Well hit. But 430 feet from home plate wasn't hit well enough. 3 runs, 4 hits. New pitcher for the Dodgers, veteran right-hander Mark Gallo, making his 3rd appearance of the spring. He's given up 6 runs and 5 hits. Did in the 3rd of an inning on Wednesday against the Padres. This is his 11th big league season, his 2nd stint with the Dodgers back in 2013. Spent last year in the White Sox and Mariners organizations. And so he's looking to peddle his wares, especially with that injury. Tom Kohler. Here's a strike, and it's 0-1. It's tough when you're asked how long you're going to be out, and the response is, I don't know, weeks or months. It's for Kohler, it's a open-ended situation. Gregor Blanco is leading it off for the Giants. against Lowe here in the bottom half of the 7th inning, and the Dodgers comfortably in front 7-1. Mark Lowe said about the collarbone, and the pitch is just outside. 1-2. Despite the one-sided nature of this game, this park is still pretty much packed to the rafters. On 1-2, Blanco lays off just outside, and it's 2-2. The 2-2. Lowe delivers a breaking ball away. 3-2. Mentioned at the Open that the Dodgers, with their 104-win season, World Series and all of that, that this point in spring training, no news is good news. Outside of the injury to Kohler, it has been a very quiet, efficient camp. Blanco takes inside and low ball 4 to begin the bottom of the 7th.
Would you like to have a very quiet camp?
Did you ever, I guess maybe when you were with the A's, but again, that's a different time and place, where spring training was a circus atmosphere?
With the A's and Charlie Finley every day.
Can you imagine the A's in the days of social media, the immediacy of all that stuff? So yeah, it might have been a circus, but you didn't hear about it till a day later.
Wasn't in the papers till the next day, so by the time they came to you for a quote, you'd had time to go ahead and collect your thoughts.
No balls and a strike. So Alan Hansen is a hitter, and he swings and misses. It's 0-2.
I mean, with the A's back then, I mean, the owner, Charlie Finley, unique.
Unique is such a nice word. It's like, when will you be here? Soon.
He did understand one main ingredient to owning an organization, and the reason that he wound up with a good ballpark, great teams. I believe in scouting.
On 0-2. Call, strike 3. Beautiful pitch by Lowe. Hansen tried to duck out of the way and came in through the back door, and Hansen has been struck out.
But for someone that, in fact, we were talking with Giants broadcaster John Miller, who came into the booth before the game about Charlie and some of the things that he did. John was with the A's for a couple of years, broadcasted for them. Here's a guy that came up with the terminology for the uniforms, and they moved out to Oakland. It wasn't just white uniforms. No. Wedding gown white, Pacific Ocean misty green, and Fort Knox gold.
Now Brandon Belt fouls it off to the right. 0-1. Belt is the only starter at the beginning of the game who's still in the ball game, and he is 0-2. And it was Charlie Finley who bestowed many of those colorful nicknames on his players.
Oh, you mean like the Catfish Hunter and the Blue Moon Odom?
Mm-hmm. Jim Hunter. It's just Jim Hunter. Ah, but Catfish.
And Charlie was spinning the story with Catfish.
The 1-1 to Belt. He takes a strike and is 1-2.
Who was a farm boy. Wound up delightful guy. Absolutely delightful. Hall of Fame career. And the story was, well, you went down to the creek and boom, boom, boom. whatever it was, and you had to pull up your pants and all that. You wind, there was a catfish, and as you pulled them up, you were in the river or whatever it was. And then there was Blue Moon Odom, and that was
John Odom.
It was John Odom.
But nobody remembers John Odom. But Blue Moon.
And Jim Jumbo Nash.
Yeah.
Some of those names. But Charlie believed in the scouting. He signed a lot of young players. He had the scouts who were out there and looking and finding those players.
On 2-2, Bell takes low and inside 3-2.
We'll put it this way: Charlie had a phone when they moved to Oakland. Don't know about Kansas City at Old Municipal Stadium, but in Oakland, Charlie's seat was right behind the dugout, and he had a phone attached to the back of the dugout.
Belt on 3-2. One hopper that eats up Beatty, and it goes into right center field for a base hit. Now Belt will go to second base because nobody was covering over there. So the Giants have second and third. Brandon Belt just smashed that ball into right center. And Matt Beatty just nearly had his head taken off.
I think he's fortunate that he did not get drilled on that. So one of the other areas that they're going to be talking about is who went where. And second base was left unoccupied.
Unoccupied because the Dodgers had the shift on.
Well, they had the shift on, and there was actually a cutoff man right in front of third base. It was not in the proper position either because he was too close to the bag. So it's a learning situation, and these are what the coaches write down, and they'll work on. They'll talk about it tomorrow morning in the meeting.
Mac Williamson stepping in. He's 1 for 3, second and third with one out of the bottom of the seventh. Dodgers 7-1. Well, between the swinging A's of the 60s and the Bronx Zoo of the 70s, two teams run by larger-than-life figures. Charles O. Finley and George M. Steinbrenner.
Well, Charlie operated with a theory, and he came up with this insurance plan for the AMA. Well, he was actually in the hospital with tuberculosis. He'd been a salesman. He said, and here was a quote: he said, "I may be outsmarted, but nobody can out-hustle me."
Here's a 2-0. Fly ball, left field, and deep, and off the wall. Mac Williamson has just doubled in 2. Didn't miss a home run by much. It is now 7-3. And pretty much for the first time all afternoon, this sold-out crowd at Scottsdale Stadium has something to cheer about.
And again, the second play in a row, the Dodgers infield was really out of sorts. Not lined up in the proper cutoff and relay situation coming in. Those that are watching the game, it missed the cutoff man, the backup, the trail man was not there. So again, these are things that are written down, and they will be discussed tomorrow by the coaches in some of the drills. And this is the important aspect. Now, some of these younger players we're just now seeing are indeed playing a little bit out of position, maybe too.
So Mark Lowe, trying to impress, has done anything but. Miguel Gomez swings and misses on a breaking ball, and it's 0-1. Again, one of the both teams, the A's of the 60s, the Yankees in the late 70s, early 80s at Bronx Zoo. You had the swinging A's in the Bronx Zoo. And covering the Bronx Zoo 40 years ago now. One of the unifying factors, and the players didn't especially get along well, as was the case in Oakland, but there was one unifying factor: they couldn't stand the owner. There's the 0-2, fouled off to the right and out of place. So there was something that brought them together at least for 3 hours a day.
Yeah, that was the escape. Because Charlie couldn't get to. He tried to. In fact, going back years and years ago. Now, the names aren't going to mean a whole lot to you, but he talked to his general manager, who was Frank Lane at the time.
Trader Frank.
The field manager at the time was Joe Gordon. Now, Finley tried to make it where they wanted Gordon to go into the press box and observe the game from there as the manager. And then Finley requested, and I didn't know this till today. I just started looking at it and I found it. Finley requested that Joe Gordon, since he was going to be in the press box, that there would be a phone installed to where Gordon could talk to the home plate umpire in case Gordon did not like a call or if he wanted to argue. But he would argue from the press box to the umpire down on the field. And baseball said, no, we don't think so.
We have a collect call from Mr. Joe Gordon. Will you accept? No. Inside and low. Kicks past Will Smith to the backstop. And Williamson will go to third on a wild pitch.
But Gordon actually tried 2 different times what Charlie Finley was requesting. So twice. But decided it was a disadvantage and it outweighed any advantage that you might have from a managerial standpoint. Is it removing yourself from the dugout to the press box where you can see the entire field in front of you?
In theory, not so bad. In theory. Low on 1 and 2. And a fly ball into right. It's going to be caught by Diaz.
All right, if you're ready, come on.
And that is the second out of the 7th inning. Of course, with the Bronx Zoo, you live through 3 incarnations of Billy Martin. One wackier than the next.
You're fired. No, you're not. You're fired. Maybe.
I'll be back. And he was. There's a pitch outside and high. 1 ball, no strikes. And we, lived through Reggie and Thurman and the straw in the drink. The 1-0 to Rutledge is outside. 1 ball, 1 strike.
All right, come on.
And for you, when you went to work there, what's going to happen today?
Oh, yeah. Every day was a thrill.
Same thing for us. Here's a 1-1. 1 ball and 2 strikes.
Well, that's when it was also a little bit more, antagonistic because that was pre-agents. The agents now can go to the general manager, maybe to ownership, and discuss things. In the past, you had to knock on the door yourself, and things got a little heated.
There's the 1-2 swung on at missed strike 3, and the inning finally comes to an end. Giants come up with a couple. On the radio side, you're listening to What Makes You Country by Luke Bryan. Luke Bryan brings his What Makes You Country XL stadium-sized tour to Dodger Stadium, along with Sam Hunt and special guest John Party and Morgan Wallen, Saturday, July 28th. Get tickets for the biggest country party of the summer on Friday at 10 a.m. Tickets go on sale from livenation.com. Henry Ramos leading it off for the Dodgers in the 8th. It's 7-3 LA. And Dan Slania is beginning his second inning of relief.
Just to make your scorecard complete, too, by the way.
Yeah.
Kyle Jensen has now taken over at first base.
So the last starter of the day has come out. Brandon Belt had been in there. He got 4 plate appearances and a double and a run scored. Ramos takes high.
Ramos is kind of interesting. Very rock steady. There's not a whole lot of extra movement with his body as he's getting ready for the pitch. Lined out to deep center his last time up, or that was his first time of the game.
Ramos big rip, fouls it back, 3-2.
But we've seen some interesting swings from Ramos in a couple of games that we have witnessed, including today for that matter. Hit a ball off of his fist, his first at bat. A very quiet stance with his hands, and I mean he's up there to paint.
Takes outside, ball 4, a leadoff walk in the 8th.
So you start to see at bats or defensive play. Yesterday we talked about Robinson, young shortstop. It's like he has cotton in the pocket of his glove. He just catches it so smoothly.
Will Smith now the hitter. Yeah, we were talking earlier. Again, get a chance to see these kids for the first time, whether it was this Errol Robinson, a slick fielding shortstop, Omar Estevez, who plays some short, plays some second base, 20 years old, and he plays older than that. And Keibert Ruiz. Again, these are names you may see at the bottom of some magazine somewhere, prospects of the future. But when you first lay eyes on them, it's like, oh, I get it now.
Yeah, because when you see that player that just has it doesn't have to be a flashy player. Doesn't have someone that doesn't have to be a tremendous play. There's just something instinctive about them that catches your eye.
Will Smith on 2-0. Swings and misses, 2 balls and 1 strike.
Little things, confidence-wise, such as Ramos looking at him at first base has a sizable lead. So he feels confident on what he's doing. So you make observations about players. Does he guard the bag, afraid to get off the bag?
On 2-1. Into right center. Well hit. That's going to go 1 hop to the wall. The aforementioned Mr. Ramos will be held at third base by Chris Woodward as Will Smith arrives at second base with a clean double to right center.
Yeah, good hitting right there. Little things also about watching runners. Are they picking up the coaches? Are they picking them up at the right place well before they get to the bag to see if they're going to advance? They hold the runner in front of at third, as Chris Woodward did right there. All the little things, the intangible things. Then you start to look, you make notes, and the coaches along with the front office and the manager, they talk about that, and then they figure out a plan. Okay, this player needs X, Y, and Z. This player needs A, B, and C. They figure out direction from an instructional standpoint.
Donovan Solano bangs one into left center field. That's going to be a base hit, and that's going to roll to the wall. Ramos will score. Will Smith will score. And Donovan Solano with a double to left center. The Dodgers tack on a couple of more and now lead it 9-3.
Solano's not up there to paint either. 2 at-bats, 2 doubles today.
Matt Beattie coming up.
Kurt Young, the pitching coach, making a trip out.
After all those years with Rags, Dave Righetti as pitching coach. Kurt Young replaces Righetti.
The Giants just kind of shuffled things around. You mentioned earlier that Ron Wotus is now the third base coach. He had been the bench coach and moving from the first base coaching box. Actually, he was at third last year. Hensley Mullins, who some are thinking is that when Bochy retires, be it his option.
Beattie first pitch, pops it up left side, and Calixte at shortstop will make the catch, first out of the 8th.
But will Hensley then be considered? Is he being groomed now as maybe the next manager for the San Francisco Giants? If he is, he's under great tutelage, and that being Bruce Bochy, who does not have ego in the way, and Bruce is one that's going to move along, and when he leaves from a managerial standpoint, I'm pretty sure he'll stay with the Giants organization, but when he leaves, he's going to make sure that whoever takes over for him is in a better spot.
You know, Bam Bam Mullins, Hensley Mullins, Bam Bam his nickname, was a serious consideration for the Yankee job that Aaron Boone would eventually get.
There are a couple of people that had their names put out and were never spoken to about it.
1 ball, no strikes as Edwin Rios swings at a breaking ball down and in. 1 ball, 1 strike, and 1 out. But Mullins, remember the great rags to riches story about Ryan Vogelsong coming back after early part of his career struggling? Bam Bam Mullins was managing in winter ball down in Venezuela. And this is before Vogelsong had made the big comeback with the Giants. And he came back from winter ball, reported to Brian Sabian and to Bruce Bochy. You remember Ryan Vogelsong, who was never really that good, but he was down here with me in winter ball. Let's try him. And of course, Vogelsong had 4 or 5 terrific seasons based on Bam Bam Mullins and what he was able to see. As Rios goes down on strike, second out of the 8th inning. So he's always been well thought of. And so he's now in the dugout.
You know, we saw it today, and it's kind of neat to go around spring training. It's obviously much more relaxed. Willie McCovey is here at the game.
Stretch.
Was here watching batting practice.
Rocky Gale, the hitter, takes a strike. It's 0-1. With Drew Jackson on deck. Sold out house of 12,141 watching, and Rocky Gale lines one into the glove of shortstop Orlando Calixte, and that will end the inning. Not before the Dodgers come up with a couple of more. pitcher for the Dodgers is right-hander Ryan Mosley. Second season in the Dodger organization. Had 28 appearances last year, 3 starts at Single-A Rancho and Great Lakes. 0-3, 4.34 ERA, and it's the first time we're laying eyes on him. Chris Shaw leads off for the Giants in the bottom of the 8th. Dodgers in cruise control at 9-3. A Vout hit the Giants 15-6. Dodgers coming off a 19-hit performance yesterday. Shaw, no balls and a strike. And a ground ball right side. Right at Edwin Rios. Steps on the bag first out of the 8th.
As a reminder, it's Toyota's Ready, Set, Go sales event. You get amazing deals like low APRs and great leases on award-winning Toyotas. See all the offers on the most popular models at buyatoyota.com.
Aramis Garcia coming up. You know it's spring training when we speak longingly, lovingly, and never-endingly. Going from Bam Bam to Blue Moon and
Catfish.
And you got the Swingin' A's and the Bronx Zoo. As Mosley delivers a breaking ball, and Garcia, the catcher for the Giants at the moment, swings and misses. It's 0-2.
So the Red Sox train here. I think Baltimore trained here for like 1 year. The Chicago Cubs were here. The A's have been here.
Low and outside.
Giants.
Giants, this is their 37th year here. One ball, 2 strikes. As Garcia, right-handed hitter, fouls it off to the left, and it's out of play.
This ballpark built just what's a block? Just a block off of Scottsdale Road. There's a great photo out in the hallway that shows when this ballpark was first built. I mean, it was nothing but empty fields around.
Here's a 1-2. Garcia swings and misses. He's been struck out. There's 2 out. And Orlando Calixte's coming up. Calixte had a cup of coffee with the Giants last year. Right-handed hitter. Takes high and inside. 1 ball and no strikes.
And it was not a real hot cup of coffee either.
Mosley is the 7th Dodger pitcher used today. And Bruce Bochy has used 7 of his. So you wonder why spring training games tend to drag on. New pitchers in and out. Here's 2-0. High and inside. 3 balls and no strikes to Orlando Calixte. And so while they are trying to improve pace of play, this is not exactly major league conditions. There's a strike. 3-1. Bruce Bochy, of that there's little question he'll be in the Hall of Fame upon his retirement 5 years hence. Little broken bat bleeder to the first baseman Rios. He makes the catch at a 1-2-3 inning for Mosley. We'll go to the ninth. Dodgers on top. It is 9-3. Pitcher of the afternoon, Tyler Sear, C-Y-R. Looking on the back on the game that was. First inning for the Dodgers, 2 out, nobody on. Bellinger single to right, and Puig would double them home. Dodgers would come up with a couple of more runs in the third inning. A 2-run shot for Yasmani Grandal, the switch hitter, hit one from the right side of the plate. Dodgers tack on another run in the fourth. Utley would double home Chris Taylor, who had walked. 3 more runs for the Dodgers in the 7th, a couple of more in the 8th. And now the hitter, Drew Jackson, leading it off, and takes high and inside. 1 ball, no strikes from Tyler Sear.
Sear, a Northern California guy out of Fremont.
As Jackson fouls it off to the right.
Now, he's interesting because he went to Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University for 2 years. Now, obviously, it's more of an aerospace engineering program. They have a flight school there, mechanical engineering, business degree in aviation, but he had an interesting degree.
The 1-1 is inside low, 2-1.
He majored in Homeland Security with minors in terrorism studies and business administration.
Oh. Talk about above my pay grade. Wow.
Well, you understand the direction we're going. I mean, those are
sadly it's
topics of conversation, unfortunately.
A burgeoning industry. Jackson takes a walk to begin the 9th.
Center fielder, number 21, Trace Thompson.
Trace Thompson coming up now. Thompson with a single to center in his first plate appearance this afternoon. And of course, Trace is flush out of options, so he either makes the team with the Dodgers or he'll be working elsewhere before opening day. Thompson takes a strike, and it's 0-1. Trace Sear, right-hander, set at the belt. The 0-1 on the way is outside. And it's 1-1. This is the 11th game of the season for both clubs. And the Dodgers are poised to win their 5th. Go 5-5-1. The Giants, barring quite a comeback in the bottom of the 9th, which will make a lot of folks in press row cranky. We'll go to 4-6-1. 2 balls and 1 strike. Thompson pops it up behind the plate, right side. Garcia makes the catch, trips and falls to the seat of his pants, and there's 2 out.
Came over by the Giants dugout. You may have been listening to Chris Berman as to where to go to catch the ball. Back.
Well,
he listened to him.
He went back. You know, that back thing was originally Red Barber on the call of Joe DiMaggio and Al Gianfrido going back in the 41 series. And that was about the only time that Joe DiMaggio ever showed outward emotion on the field, as Gianfrido made the catch against the lower fence in left center. Arriving at second base, DiMaggio kicked dirt. And that, for Joe D, was about the sum of his emotion on the field, at least outwardly. A man who coached you.
With the Oakland A's, and he was a very private guy. Got to know him exceptionally well.
Yusniel Diaz is the hitter for the Dodgers. Ball is striking and out in the 9th inning, and it is 9-3 LA. Line to right, and it's going to be caught out there by Mac Williamson for the 2nd out of the 9th inning.
Number 72,
The theory goes that the great players have a difficult time coaching because everything used to come so naturally.
And I can't understand, maybe that was one of the things said about Ted Williams.
Exactly.
When he became the manager.
He just couldn't relate to the fact that players couldn't do what came so naturally to him. To that end, what was DiMaggio like?
Joe was terrific. At times he was demanding.
But was he a coach that could get into your head?
He was a guy that we talked about Charlie Lau a little bit earlier. But Joe understood that different people had limitations.
Henry Ramos with a ground ball to second base, where Calixte, the shortstop, beats Drew Jackson to the bag. Force out, end of the inning. We'll go We go to the home half of the ninth. Dodgers 9 runs and 15 hits. The Giants 3 runs and 6 base hits. A right-hander by the name of Malcolm Culver is going to work for the Dodgers in ninth. First time we've seen him.
Yeah, Southern California product out of Panorama City. And then he eventually went to Palmdale High School. He was actually offered a football scholarship at San Diego State, where he would have played both football and baseball.
Well, he's built like a linebacker, strong safety, right-handed pitcher, facing Gregor Blanco in the bottom of the ninth. Dodgers leading 9-3. Line drive base hit just inside the line, heading into the corner in right. Blanco is on his way to second base, and he will be held there.
So first pitch thrown by Culver. One of the things that I did notice is that there was kind of a misfire a couple of times in one inning on the position of the players, cutoffs and relays. Well, it was perfectly executed in that play as the ball was hit down the right field line.
Alan Hansen stepping into the plate for the Giants now. Came in, took over at second base, was a pinch runner earlier. Now those are Hale and Hardy fans. Their team is trailing 9-3 in the 11th exhibition game of the spring, and they're hoping for a rally in the ninth. But then there are the Dodger fans who are hanging in there and trying to cross the finish line with the boys in blue. Here's the 1-0 to Hansen. It's a call strike. That is 1-1.
Well, the chant for the Giants, it started in an area right down below us, and we're only about 3 feet from the crowd, right behind home plate, but right down below us and to the right. I will guarantee you that was the highest generating sales area sold today. They left no stone unturned.
So before and after, huh? And this is well part of the after. We've got nowhere else to go. 1-1 to Alan Hansen. With Blanco dancing off second, Hansen takes a strike. That is 1-2. What has been a leisurely played game on this Sunday afternoon. The wind has been steadily blowing from left to right. Haven't seen a cloud all day. Here's the 1-2. Hansen takes outside, and it's 2-2. Well, you hear our friends just beneath us who are that "Here we go Giants, here we go" was not a long-lasting chant. A fly ball to center field, and it's going to be caught by Trace Thompson. First out of the bottom of the ninth, and here comes Kyle Jensen.
Well, they chant, they play the music, and then you clap twice. Those guys can't do it. It's hard to clap with
one hand.
Cup of beer each hand.
Just make a mess of yourself. One out in the bottom of the ninth. Kyle Jensen was with the Diamondbacks, and he had a big pinch hit home run against the Dodgers last year. And it was a big one. It traveled a long way. Which is a strike on the outside corner, 0-1. Malcolm Culver. The 8th Dodger pitcher of the day. Giants have used 9. Over deals. Grounded foul toward the Dodger dugout, and it is 0-2.
Jensen had been with the Dodgers for a while. Acquired him from the Marlins organization in 2014.
Boy, you think this life is easy, trying to hook on one team after another. You pack your bags and you hope this is the place you finally are able to call home. Jensen takes low and outside, 2-2. Correction, 1 ball, 2 strikes, 1-2. It ain't easy. Ball, 2 strikes and an out. Bottom of the 9th. Dodgers 9-3. Culver delivers. It's high. 2-2.
Jensen born in Dublin. No, not that Dublin. Dublin, California. Marlins signed him out of St. Mary's.
Two balls, 2 strikes, 1 out. Blanco leading off second base, and the pitch is high, 3-2. Blanco the leadoff double at second base with 1 out in the bottom of the 9th. Jansen awaits. Here's the pitch. Swung on and missed. Strike 3.
Come on, man.
Giants are down to their final out as Mac Williamson makes his way toward home plate. Williamson with a double this afternoon back in the 7th inning. It's high and inside. 1 ball, no strikes. The next game on television will be Thursday. Dodgers and Indians over at Goodyear. And the next radio game will be Friday. Dodgers and Royals at Camelback Ranch. There's a strike. 1 ball, 1 strike to Mac Williamson. The Oscars coming up in a couple hours. Here's a 1-1. Foul off to the right. Now to play. It's 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Are you presenting tonight?
Well, I'm a seat filler.
A seat filler.
Little pizza delivered, a seat filler, and I'm a happy guy. Here's the 1-2. Swung on and missed, strike 3. And at long last, the game is over. And a game that took 3 hours and 37 minutes to play. Dodgers beat the Giants 9-3. For the Dodgers, 9 runs, 15 hits, no errors. They left 11. The Giants, 3 runs, 7 hits, 2 errors. They left 8. Aida wins it. Samardzija loses it. That's a wrap from here in Scottsdale for our Sportsnet LA viewers. Coming back on Thursday when the Dodgers face the Indians in Goodyear. First pitch on Thursday night, 5:05 Pacific.